by Loa. Laces one upfield. It's Waddle once again. He did a big game.
It's a touchdown.
Tua is 100th career touchdown.
This is the Fin Spitful Postgame Show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Live victory. Second time in a row, post-game show. Miami Dolphins picked up a huge win over the Commanders in overtime, 16-13. It didn't look like that for a minute. A lot of blown opportunities. Both teams, I will say, look like 3-7 teams. Also, big shout-out to Madrid for an incredible setting. The stadium was beautiful. It made me jealous. I wanted to be out there. Now, don't make a mistake. This was huge because we roll into the bye week now at a perfect time. 2 winnable games ahead, the Saints and the Jets. They got some momentum and confidence. I guess the question is, I know some might want to or not to, can this turn into another real run here where the Dolphins start off slow and kind of make a late run for that last playoff spot? We're breaking it all down, so stay with us here in the Fin Faithful podcast. We got my man, Jason Sarney, my co-pilot and co-host as always. We got Fin Sammy from Fins TV and Mr. Curtis, Ace per head, and you never know who else could pop in. We don't know. This is unpredictable. It's a strange 12:45 post-game show. All right, fella, I'll start with you, Jason. We'll go around the horn here. General thoughts on the game. Then we'll get into more specifics, Sonny.
All right. Well, first and foremost, sometimes you're liking to have everybody, right? About damn time. But anyway, sometimes better to be lucky than good. You know, the Dolphins, you could say, squeaked away with a lucky win on this one after, there were positives and negatives. I understand that. But you're leaving an international game with a win for the first back-to-back set of victories on the season. You get a bye week, you get the Saints and the Jets, and then you potentially get to, ready for it, 6-7, going into a nationally televised primetime game against the Pittsburgh Steelers with a lot of fun narratives. So we'll obviously break down the game throughout the show, but ultimately, a win is a win, lucky or not. Thank goodness that they got this victory.
Sammy.
I know there's someone somewhere who's going to complain about the Dolphins winning today, and now this could be the worst because we're not going to get, the best draft pick, and this is going to save my Daniel. Listen. Easy. Take a chill pill. If at the end of everything.
I want to pause you right there, Sammy. You have a good thought, but we got my friend Kenny live from Madrid, Spain.
I thought it was Frank the Tank because Frank the Tank is one who did the rest of me.
What a game. What a game.
First of all, Kenny, good to see you again, brother. First of all, before we get into the game, I had to interrupt Sammy. I'm sorry. Sammy, you're going to get your chance.
Stay by the bell there.
Yeah. How was the atmosphere, the stadium, just the whole week there, the 2 days you were in Spain? How was it before we get into the game?
Oh, man, first of all, shout out you guys, man. I was watching the background, but you guys are great. Always on the show, always listening. But no, the atmosphere was amazing, man. Definitely, I would say it was leaning more Miami Dolphins, but you can still hear the Commanders sound. But what an experience, too. And the stadium is absolutely incredible. Even the halftime play they did like sparklers and like mini fireworks inside. But it was electric. And every time the Miami Dolphins stopped them in the goal line or for the interception, there was a loud pop in here. There were 78,000 that came in. So just to see everybody really support the NFL over here is crazy to think about.
How's that stadium, man? It's beautiful, huh?
Dude, it's insane, man. Outside, it doesn't look like much, but once you come inside, it's just a different world. It's so next level, I can't even explain it. And the view is always great no matter where you are. It's really cool, guys.
All right, so what were your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts overall? We haven't heard your opinion. Dolphins are, 4-7? Huge win, 2 in a row. Your thoughts kind of on the game and then overall the Dolphins headed to the bye week.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I think it was just a typical Miami Dolphins game. Just so many twists and turns. It looked like we were running up and down the field pretty well, at least going down to the goal line. But once we got to the red zone, we set up a field goal, and I still don't understand the decision to, I guess it worked out in the end, but to go for it, especially when we couldn't punch it in on 3rd and 1, But it was, I would say, first initial thoughts, like not really looking at the game back, it looked pretty good, but I would say Mariota looked pretty comfortable back there a few times and he made plays. And the defense at the end of the day, when he allowed 13, but it seemed like he struggled again with those big plays on defense. The offense, I got really scared when H-Chan went down. Like, that's our offense right there. Waddle had two big
Two
drops, man.
drops, man.
Yeah, I was just very surprising, man. But it looked okay for the most part. Obviously, in the red zone, you want to punch it in. But, a pretty exciting Miami Dolphins game. I'm glad I get to hop on an 8-hour flight and at least enjoy a win for the week.
Anybody have any questions for Kenny? I got another one for you, Kenny. What do you say with this whole? You haven't heard your opinion. Greer gone, McDaniel coming back next year. What are you in favor of this whole thing?
I don't know, man. I'll say this, but there's a reason the team is still fighting for him. Maybe it's something that we don't know. Like, the team still looks like they want to play for McDaniel. I think I'm probably leaning towards I really would like to see another coach in, just because we're getting a new front office and everything coming in. If he stays, I'm not opposed to it because you still see the team fighting. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that because if you really start diving into it, like, I really don't know what this team is gonna do. They do everything half-assed all the time. So from what it looks like, especially after this win, I know they have a pretty good schedule coming up. It seems like they're gonna win some games and the Denver's gonna stay. And, I would prefer to see another coach in, like I said, with an front office, but I guess we'll wait and see to see what happens.
How was your trip? How would you rate the Madrid and how they treated everybody there and kind of the atmosphere?
It was amazing. Even a fan zone, I understand with a home team, so the Commanders don't have like a fan zone or anything like that. So everything that was like the events, we went to a pub as well for the Irish pub for all the Dolphins fans is really cool. Honestly, like I would say like the game is probably the most boring part of the trip in terms of like everything that you're doing. But the fan zone, the pubs, I even got some merch that they're only selling in Spain.
Oh, I
So
saw the merch, man.
yeah, so it's really cool.
Yeah.
And honestly, all the Spanish people are really into the NFL. I was expecting nobody to know what was going on in the city, but yeah, most of the crowd was Spanish locals. So it's really cool to see as well. And you see them like talking like primero and diez, like, they're talking in Spanish again, like football terms. So it's really cool to see. The environment was amazing, man. 10 out of 10. Like, it's a really cool thing, man. I really advise doing it, especially if your team is playing.
All right. Well, Kenny, we'll let you go, man. I know. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Thanks,
Come on,
Kenny.
guys.
Have a safe flight home, brother. Thank you.
You guys as well, man. Fins up. At the end of the day, it's a dub. At the end of the day, it's a
Yep.
dub. But fins up.
Hey,
I've been listening
travels.
to everybody. Thank you. I've been listening to everything on the way out, but
All right.
have
Thank you,
fun,
man.
guys.
Appreciate you,
All
Kenny.
right.
Safe travels home.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you for joining us.
Thank you. Big fan. All righty, guys. Bye-bye.
All right.
That's a great experience, man. That's a great experience.
Let's get from one guest to another special guest. Frank's the Tank's weekly spot here. Frank, I saw you were live streaming the whole game. Frank, why are you not smiling and happy, man? What's going on?
Tears of joy, Frank.
Is this tears of joy?
How do you
I see
not
where we're going.
kick a field goal with 2 minutes left in a tie game?
He's not wrong.
Why did I have a problem with as much as everybody else?
Well, first off, they got a little bit fortunate that they missed that field goal. These kickers can kick from like 90 now.
Yes.
And the Commanders, I guess, don't have one of the greatest kickers in the league. I know he's been around. He played for the Buccaneers, played for the Rams. But Matt Gay is not really that good quarterback. He's a good kicker. He's not one of the elite kickers. He doesn't have a great leg but these kickers make these long kicks now. They make them. If you kick the field goal and they kick a field goal to tie it, God bless them. God bless them. But if you are tied you have a chance of losing. Of course, it would have been better to lose because you get a better draft pick. I am waiting for the day when they beat the Jets, because they will beat the Jets.
It's gonna happen, yeah.
They will beat the Saints, and everyone on that fucking team is going to be celebrating, doing the 6-7 dance, being happy that they're fucking 6-7. You know it's coming. You can see it on the horizon.
But that's been the problem. We're heading that way.
Like
Again,
a freight train, that 6-7's coming.
Jason, you said this could happen, right? I mean,
I said a couple weeks ago, this is setting up very similarly, not exactly, to 2021. You started awful. You put some things together. You go on a bit of a run. And look, if you look at the rest of the schedule now, comparatively to 2021 following the bye week, it's remarkably similar in opponent. You know what I mean? So, look.
You got an awful Saints team coming in. The Saints are not competitive.
Not at all.
Then you play the Jets, who are 0-8 from against teams not from Ohio.
No, that's so good.
That's a great geographical stat.
I love
that.
I love that, friend. That's too much.
So they're gonna. I might be at that game unless I'm doing something else. I'm gonna be at that fucking game.
Oh boy.
lucky.
If you're going, I'm 100% going, Frank. I was on the phone. They're putting a couple of games together. If we're going to that game to get to that 6-7, I will be there.
Here's the bigger question: who on this panel wants to be 6-7?
Not me.
Raise your-
6 and 7.
Guys,
I don't care.
We are now. Listen, I know it was fun when they were literally in the bottom three or the top three of the tankathon. But now you're closer to the playoff picture in the hunt than you are to a number one pick. That's gone. What's the difference between a 6th or a 14th at this point?
I'm closer to Sidney Sweeney walking through that door than the Dolphins are going to the playoffs.
Look, I get it. I know that there probably is a 2% or 3% chance that they make the postseason. But let's face it, folks, there is not a surefire number one quarterback, not an Andrew Luck, not a Michael Vick, not a Peyton Manning. You know, there is not that guy that we are going to lose out on. To me,
Exactly.
But there's a difference between this 5th or 6th player in the draft and the 14th or 15th.
At this point, why are we?
Let's do the Ravens who pick every single day in the 20s and get good players. It doesn't matter.
Billy Stroud would be a good pick.
It's
the
what
Dolphins need to go offensive line this year.
No, I want free agent. I already said this on record. I want offensive linemen in free agency. I'm spending big dollars. When they finally get their cap reset and their dead money, I am going in on big money on the offensive line. I'm giving up on the
You just
draft.
want Mendoza. You want Mendoza.
No, he's not my number one quarterback.
Mendoza. He is just a whore.
But wait a minute. It's not.
Nobody knows more about that than me. You want to go to war? We go to war.
If they win, it's great. I'm with Frank here. It's not what picking. It's not because they pick 14th or 6th. It means what comes with it. Who stays? Who goes? The pockets of hopium again. We're doing it all again. And the problem we got to figure out is, why the heck does it always take us 8 games to figure out what we need to do well or not, when the fan base, dumb guys like us who do podcasts, can figure out after week 1? That's the biggest question.
One is, you know why the Dolphins are actually playing better and winning now? They fixed whatever the defensive deficiency was, number 1. Number 2, you give the ball to H-Han.
No, he's special, man. He had 2 runs today that
I tell you what, it's kind of like having a boil removed. Tyreek Hill going down. I mean, you can see the team is much better. He must have been such a strain in that locker room.
You know what I noticed? I don't know if you guys noticed. Since Greer's gone, I see McDaniel a lot more confident, a lot more excited on the sidelines, a lot more aggressive. I don't know if he just feels like, okay.
I always said that. I don't think it's, and I don't want to hire Chris Greer's lieutenant to be the next general manager. I want to bring in someone from another organization. But I don't think anyone who comes in this organization should be forced Mike McDaniel.
Oh, and we'll get into the reports, but we'll get into the game, I promise here. But the reports that GM candidates are going to be comfortable with both McDaniel and Tua, that's a bunch of bullshit. I can promise you that. And I'm going to play that ear rapper video, but there is not one high. All the guys we talk about, the guy from Philadelphia, the Chargers, the Detroit, they're not coming here with McDaniel too. I promise you. Promise you that. I don't know how you feel about that, Frank.
No, there's no way they should allow that to happen. You cannot bring McDaniel, a new GM. You have to bring in someone fresh start, fresh eyes, fresh approach, and let them do whatever they need to do. That's it.
Any final thoughts, Frank? I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've been on.
No, that's it. I'm actually going to be on Spitting Chicklets in about an hour or so.
Okay, we'll check it out. Frank, we appreciate it. We'll see you next week, man.
All right, see you next. Well, 2 weeks.
Oh no, it's a bye week. Bye week. See you in 2 weeks.
A well-earned off weekend.
All right, thank you,
You're
Frank.
welcome, Frank. Thank you.
Be good, Frank.
All right, as we welcome Lou. Let's reset here. We had to get our live report from Madrid. Then we had Frank come in, so we had to kind of reset things. But Lou, welcome. We're gonna start. We're gonna leave off for Sammy. Let's get back to
go to Lou.
No.
After 20 minutes, just maybe to go where I was now. Go to Lou and I'll come back to me. Come on.
Show your professionalism, Sammy. Show your professionalism.
Oh, there you go. I will.
Oh! All right.
Now go to Lou.
Lou, go ahead. Your thoughts on the game, Lou, and where you're at overall heading to the bye.
Man, you always take that win, but this was not so much of a win. It was more of outlasting the Commanders. What can you say? It's just McDaniel had chances to establish himself after a big win against Buffalo, and it looks like we regressed here in this game. Starting off in that first drive where we not only have to call a timeout, but then we have a delayed game right after that. Then going into the fourth quarter where you're deciding to not kick the go-ahead field goal, and then you start calling timeouts, enabling them to – they were complacent, in my opinion, to run out the clock then and go into overtime. And McDaniel helps them by calling those timeouts and giving them a chance to kick that potential game-winning field goal there. The plays where we could have scored. I thought Gordon should have been the first option on that 3rd and goal. Smash mouth football right in the middle, but they had him lined up as a wide receiver on that play. That was strange. And then to go for it on 4th down instead of kicking the points, that's a big mistake in my opinion as well. And then the other aspect of it is Tua, who is at this point a game manager. He had his long punt again when he threw the ball deep down to Waddle, who was covered over the top, and with the cornerback as well. So Tua again is not doing much here, but being a game manager, and that's what you would expect from a journeyman like Mariota, and not the 5th overall pick in the draft.
Curtis.
Well, it's like I feel like I got to be bipolar in order to evaluate this thing. It's like half of me wants to go fan, think about like now, because as a fan, I know the future. It's like Jim Morrison, the future's uncertain, the end's always near. I don't know what the hell can be brought to a Dolphin fan in the future, so I just try to enjoy the now. But because I do this stuff, and I'm just very curious, I want to know about long-term success. So for me, when I look at the victory, I said, where's that going to put us? I look at McDaniel. I said, well, the closer more victories you get, the more likely he's coming back, the more likely Champ's coming back, the more likely we're going to continue in this position. And what is that going to do for us long term? And, there's a lot that goes into it, but you look at this game, just even on the second drive, I think it was Achane, it was first down, you get 8 yards, it's 2nd down and 2, and then you do Dulcich throw, then you come back with a play action rollout. It's like, why aren't you slamming Gordon in at that point? We had like 7 rushes, I think, in the first half. He just forgets basic stuff. And every time we outrun a team in attempts, we win. And so to me, McDaniel, he's good enough with this kind of talent to keep us in that middle ground. Maybe if things get pulled together, win a play. But the difference between great and good is an ocean. And this is a win. You take it. It took, the refs screwed us to begin with. McDaniel and his philosophy screwed us to begin with. Second half, it was a battle, but then we got all this kind of luck stuff. Ertz falling in the end zone and a punt. Yeah, so it's like, it's almost like a cruelty because you want to I thought we should have blown this team out, and we should have if we had a half coherent first half. But it just feels like we're going to be headed back to mediocrity with maybe a slight tick up. But I want the victory because I don't know what the hell's happening next year. Maybe they bring Greer. I don't know. I'm saying it's like always some kind of. I know I'm not saying really, but with this team, you don't know what kind of torture they got in the future. So beating the Bills last week was happy times. But I'm like, oh, man, what is this going to bring? So to me, it was a win. If you're just looking at it as a fan for now and you're just trying to be happy in this moment, it's a good thing. But long term, does that bring us something great? And I don't think so. I don't think McDaniel's the guy because he keeps forgetting. It's like he takes crazy pills every other week or every couple of weeks. And then once in a while, he takes the limitless pill and he gets smart and he does things right. And then next week, he's back on the crazy pills. So I don't know. That's my take.
Sammy, do you remember your take now from half an hour ago?
No, set me up again. You think I'm going to remember half an hour ago? Come on.
But your thoughts on the game, though. I mean, where do you stand with the whole,
To be quick, I understand that people are mad because, draft position, how many times we expect something to happen and we expect that pick to be whomever and they don't pick whomever is picked. There's things you not can control. We talk so much about the winning culture. I want a franchise that tries to win every single time. Everything else is gonna fix by itself. If you really have conviction for a player, there are ways for the Dolphins to go get him. Is there a player on the board that you think the Dolphins can get right now? It's too early to tell. So I'm not gonna throw games just with the hope. Please go ahead, Jason.
Go. Go. Finish up, and then I'm going
to hope to get whomever. I have no idea by draft time who's going to be on that board. I said that's the guy I want. And Dolphins fans are always in love with someone, always get in love with someone. And then when they don't get it, oh man, they suck because they don't get it. It happens. We're fans. That's what we do. But I don't live. I'm tired of being the off-season champions of hoping for the draft and hoping for free agency. I want a team that wants to win every single week and everything's going to fits. I can understand if you don't want Mike McDaniel back, that the wins might save him. Listen, getting a win against the Commanders is not going to be the difference between Mike McDaniel staying or going. It's not. At the end of the year, everybody's on the line because from what I'm hearing, Stephen Ross is basically tired of this crap. So, and he's not young, so he's going to have to evaluate it. There's a reason why he fired the GM instead of the coach. I get that because usually the coach is the one that goes and the GM goes later. So that's telling you that basically Chris Greer took the blame for the mess. The personnel is a small ball comes and says to my McDaniel, listen, it's not all on you because you didn't get the best players to work with. But I do believe that at the end of the year, everything's going to be evaluated. And if the Dolphins look today, of course I was ready to say you're fired to my McDaniel. But it doesn't matter. Right now, it doesn't matter. They can still lose to the Saints, and we'll be in the same spot today that the same if we were lost to the Commanders. So enjoy the win. Don't worry too much about the draft picks. Well, the one-play games have not been played yet. We don't know who won or lost those games. We don't know what the draft coton says our spot is by the end of the night. So just enjoy the game. Just try to win. Don't complain about losing. The offseason is going to figure it out. But I myself, I'm tired of being the offseason champions. I cannot care less about the draft positioning. When we get there, we get there.
To piggyback off of Sammy, this is now the time to hope that, look, Lou, you're a baseball guy, right? sometimes in baseball, before the All-Star break, a team could be terrible. And then after the All-Star break, they could heat up. And sometimes it actually carries on over into like the next season. You know what I mean? With pitchers, with hitters, with a team overall.
Yes.
Right now, you're
How's that
looking
work
at
for
the
the
second
Dolphins
half.
last few years?
You know what? We're looking for
Dolphins lose every single time during the end of the
but
season.
There's one major difference right now, George. You're going into an offseason with a brand new philosophy, general manager wise, and you're also going into a draft with needs that are. Oh, let me finish. Let me get there. You have 5 top 100 picks, and to tell you the truth, you know what I would absolutely love if they're the 13th pick. And at 14th pick, you know what you do to add a little bit of sugar to that draft slot? You trade back a little bit so you're in the late teens or the early 20s where you can get a cornerback. It's not 3 or 4 cornerbacks and you can get in the back or in the middle of the first round. If you could get another late first or an early second, you get a 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver to pair with Jalen Waddle. In the second round, you get an offensive lineman, which there should be a plethora of options for, whether interior or replace Austin Jackson on the right side. Because let's face it, that experiment, I believe, is over. So you have a brand new person, whether it's Kelly or someone else, making the draft picks and philosophically building this team. But if you can get a little bit of momentum with who you have, whether McDaniel is there or not, because he made a lot of mistakes today. You know, you should have kicked the field goal, as Frank said. There were kind of play calling in certain times and areas of the field that he generally has that mistake with. Did they adjust phenomenally in the second half? No, that's been an Achilles heel of his. But at this point, to root to pick 7 as opposed to 14, to me, asinine, in my opinion. Because now you're looking to build momentum with a new head of the organization making the picks. If Greer was still here, same old Dolphins, we're going to do this, same old crap, you know, in the offseason. They're going to overspend on veterans. They're going to make wrong draft picks. They're going to not be aggressive enough when they have to. But now we have that, let's see who it's going to be. And I want momentum. I don't want to lose to the Saints or to the Jets. I don't want to take 2 steps backwards. I would love to beat an Aaron Rodgers Steelers team to go to 7-7. And then who the hell is not rooting for 3 more wins? Tell me.
All right. Before I get started on my little rant against that,
Let me put my Twins TV hat again. I want to hear this.
Guys, let's get some likes, more likes in this video. Subscribe. Let's get everybody come on over to YouTube. Check us out. It's what I think is the best post-game show. We're else to get Frank the Tank, live takes from Madrid, the great variety of guests from different podcasts. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. All right. You're missing the point. This has nothing to do with where they pick in the draft. I agree with that point that you can find players everywhere. What it has to do is, okay, Sammy, you went down from 100 to 51% of McDaniel coming back, correct?
Yeah, I'm to 51 right now, yes.
If they keep on this is the worst kind of game to win. Because A, a game you probably could have lost, should have lost to a team that's 3-7. So you're getting a little bit of that false hope. And B, you're going to be set up now to probably go in 3 in a row, be 6-7, and what's going to happen? The chances of you bringing this coach back and the same thing happening over and over and over again. It takes them the last 3. They'll either start 2-7 or start 7-2, then flip it around and go 2-7 or 7-2. They can't figure things out. They don't know how to adjust quick enough. This organization is muddling in mediocrity, and this is the perfect example of it. Muddling in mediocrity. And right now, they're at it again. And Jason, your point to the new GM, if Champ Kelly is picking the players and Mike McDaniel's back and Tua's back, I promise you, we'll be sitting here in the same position.
I can't make that promise just yet because there's
it's not the 6th pick. You can find guys in 14 at 6, but it's a complete bomb that needs to go off in that building. And the more that you give Stephen Ross and his crazy ideas hope that this thing might actually work with McDaniel and Tua, is where we're going to be sitting here. Because, look, I'm in my 40s now. God knows how long I have to live. But now when you hit your 40s and you're going to 50s, you kind of every year it matters a little bit more. I don't want to waste another one. But go ahead, Jason.
No, listen, again, a couple of weeks ago, I was ready to say, all right, new quarterback, new GM, which happened, new head coach. But there has been growth in an overall team concept. The defense is playing better. You have a bona fide superstar in Achane. Waddle, yeah, had a couple drops today, but those two are foundational offensive pieces. And again, with a new person picking 5 top-tier picks in that top 100, I know I'm kind of like a broken record here, but I'm going on a clean slate at this moment. Build the momentum that you can, trim the fat, but there are certain things that you could be positive about. And with that said, I would love to get Seth Levitt's opinion, welcome him on from the fish tank. How you doing, Seth? Because I think you're happy with what's going on at this exact moment.
I'm always happy when the Miami Dolphins win. Nice to see everybody here. Appreciate you guys having me.
Coming on.
To me, if you're going to watch it and you're going to cheer for the team, I just, when they kick the ball off, at that point, nothing else matters except having more points than the opponent at the end. That's just the way I'm wired. I will never sit and root for the team to lose. I'm not mad at Brian Flores for beating Cincinnati, in 2019. Like, I'm not wired that way. Was I baffled at the last few minutes of that game? My mind was blown. My mind was absolutely blown. The fact it worked out was fun. I'm laughing. I'm scratching my head. I understand the frustrations. George, nice use of alliteration with muddled and mediocrity. I mean, that was nice to sit back and hear some of that. But, look, they're 4-7, fellas. It keeps things interesting. Stephen Ross will have some decisions to make at the end of the season. I think when you're evaluating all of those decisions, you probably need to look at the end of this game and make sure you don't ignore it.
Seth, thanks for coming on. I love the background, by the way, the palm trees, the ambiance. It's a nice 1 o'clock post-game stuff.
That's it. I know. It's 1:20 for crying out loud. It's great. And the wife made avocado smoothies. What's better than that?
You're doing even better than the Dolphins. Seth, what do you stand in this whole thing with the Greer going and Mike coming back? What do you look at the organization? I know. Listen, a win's a win, and to me, the Buffalo game was a fun win. This one, I think this kind of game, winning this kind of game, just gives you're gonna look back on which is one you lost. I look at big picture. I look at roster construction. I look at kind of what this means going forward. Maybe more than most. My foundation, I love roster building, and that's where I got started in this with the draft and all that stuff. So I might look at it a little different than everybody else. But where do you stand here on Greer going first? And I'm sure you guys with the fish tank with you and OJ covered all this stuff. But where do you stand on this? And ultimately, if I said, Seth, I'm going to put a percentage on it, is McDaniel back as a coach next year?
Oh boy! Wow, that's a lot. We're only 4-7. We're not at the end of the season here. I feel like it's a little too early. Although I understand why the question's being asked and the conversation's being had. I think that when the decision was made to move on from Chris Greer, you could have easily made the argument that if they had moved on from Mike McDaniel, you wouldn't have gotten a whole lot of pushback. I mean, there was certainly, I think, cause to consider making that move. At the same time, who would have been the right choice to be the interim head coach? I don't know the answer to that. And you can't argue the fact that the team is continuing to play for McDaniel. Has it always been perfect? Has it always been pretty? No. Have there been decisions that you continue to scratch your head? I just addressed that earlier. But the team hasn't just laid down. I don't think it's a team that's turned against their head coach. So I understand taking the position of let's see what he's got here and let's see what he can make out of this mess. We clearly have made a decision that the person who is building the roster is not the guy that they want to have at the helm anymore. So let's see how the coach fares. I get it. Get through the end of the season, make a decision at that point. But I don't think you can just stick your head in the dirt and ignore the things that have happened to get you to this point.
I'm going to let you guys jump in and ask Seth. I just want to – that you guys can go and ask Seth any questions. I just want to say this about the whole – I do agree with you. I think the players play for Mike. But I also think both things can be true. Like they might like Mike, might like their situation here. Don't want it to change because if it changes means some of their situation changes. And I think they like Mike, but also can be true that he's not the right guy for the job. I just think we get kind of confused sometimes because they didn't quit on the team means that this guy's the right coach. I'm I'm not 100% sold on that part.
Well, I hear you, and I'm not saying that means he's the right coach.
Right.
I'm saying that means I can understand why you would allow somebody to finish out the season and see what can happen, even though it has been an abject failure up to this point, or at least 3-4 weeks ago.
Great point. Anybody got any questions for Seth?
Yeah, I don't want to suck up all the air in the room, guys. You know.
Hey, Jason, Sammy, we won. Smile. You should have loads of questions for Seth Levitt.
Listen,
I have no problem. I never have a problem with you because you're the one here.
Listen,
we won.
Like Seth said, you know, regardless of what happens, there always is a wiring for wanting to win. You know what I mean? And like I said earlier, there's no surefire top tier quarterback where we're, oh my God, we're missing on a generational Manning or Vic or whatever. So you know what? Let's have some fun. Let's flip the narrative around and go for some W's, get some momentum. And you know what? 2021 was a lot of fun until that Tennessee Titan game. And that game is where everything, the wheels fell off, but they were in position to make an absolute storybook comeback. And you know what? For my money, that's what I'm rooting for the rest of the way until it's mathematically impossible.
We'll get to the positive stuff. We'll get it. But Curtis and Lou, we'll start with you, Lou. We haven't heard from you guys in a minute. Where do you stand on this? Because it's kind of a battle of both sides here. We'll go with each of you guys, and then we'll get into the positives, like the defense turning around.
Curtis, you want to go first?
Oh no, it's all right, brother, man. I'm building my case over here. I'm working on it.
Yeah, I love what Seth said. I never root against the team ever. I always want the outcome to be a victory. And I'm not rooting to get a better draft slot, but at the same time, you see what the Jets did, where they ripped off the Band-Aid and they said, hey, we have a new GM in place as of this year, and a new coach, and they're willing to give those guys a shot and not just have the narrative of the same old Jets picks. And so there is that argument that you want to, it's going to be very difficult to make the playoffs. We've already, lost the head-to-head to the Ravens. The Chiefs are even out of the playoffs right now. It's a lot of teams that we got to jump here. So, but I'm with you. I want to ask Seth about McDaniel specifically. We're in year 4 now, and some of these calls at the end, not taking the 3 points, and specifically at the beginning of the game, where you had back-to-back. First, you had to blow a timeout because you couldn't get the playoff, and then the very next play, you got to delay a game, or I think the play after that, a delay a game. Why are these things continuing to happen in year 4? And if it's happening in games where there's not a whole lot on the line, how is he going to correct this and excel in his craft when it's a game for the division like it was 2 years ago against Buffalo, or for the right to get into the playoffs? How's he going to clean that up, and how much longer is he going to get a leash with this?
Yeah, well, I think those are really good questions, and they're fair questions. I think if you, if you went old school, the way your parents taught you to weigh the positives and the negatives, and you took the sheet of paper and you drew the line down the middle and you put the positives on one side and the negatives on the other, you have to put that there are so many operational challenges that this team seems to face year in and year out, and it is now this 4th year with the same head coach who is the offensive coordinator, with the same quarterback. That to me, and let me take a step back. When Frank Smith was brought down from the booth to the sidelines, everyone talked about how that was going to clean up the operation. Like, how did it take this long to get to that point? Why are we even at this point? So that is a very fair and valid question, in my opinion. I think, some of the discipline issues, some of the operational things that are always an issue. And quite frankly, this team, this head coach, well, let me say this offensive coordinator and this quarterback has oftentimes shrunk in the biggest moments of big games. And so those are things that you have to say, will it ever get better? I also know we have a fan base that loves to throw every person that has ever had a cup of coffee in the Miami Dolphins organization. When 7 years later, they're seeing some modicum of success, they love to slap the Dolphins in the face with that.
Yes.
And so if you believe that Dan Campbell should have been given a shot where he didn't become a great head coach till 6 or 7 years later after his interim run, if you believe that Todd Bowles should have been given a shot even though he failed in New York, which It's not all his fault, but his run in New York was a failure. If you believe that he should have been given a shot, if you believe that all these other people should have been given
Dan
a
Quinn,
shot,
yes,
yeah, then the argument for, well, we had a first-time head coach in McDaniel. He's shown signs of doing some things really well. Can we let him work his way into being the head coach that we believe he can be? I can understand that argument. But those the things that you pointed out, Lou, are the things that bother me the most. All that operational stuff. Look, every team gets a false start, no matter who their head coach. I'm sure the Kansas City Chiefs have their share of false starts and operational, but it's not to the degree that it seems to happen with the Dolphins. And those things really are concerning. And so you can't ignore them. I just don't know if it's grounds to fire somebody, when in the middle of a football season.
Yeah, I call pockets of opium that we have, because the process has always failed. We have Jason knows I like to say that my new word is the pocket of opium, because the foundation of the roster is never built correctly. So you'll get these pockets, because they got big time play on the outside. They got weapons. They have, Tua at points can play like a top 10 quarterback. But the process of building this roster and the process of how they do it in the building just hasn't been correct for the past, 20 years or so. So I call this pockets of opium, and I think this is another little pocket of opium. And if we win 3 games in a row, we're stuck on another pocket of opium. But we'll move on to that. I just had to get my daily pocket of opium trademarked on the show. Curtis, which side are you on here?
Well, look, nice to meet you, Seth. I agree with exactly what everybody's kind of saying. I could see him getting rid of McDaniel and totally cleaning house, and I could see you keeping him. For me, though, it's football's like the two cores, the foundational principles of football is violence and competition. So you can keep McDaniel to the end of the season. You can keep Champ to the end of the season. I don't care. That's fine. You got him on the contract. But go out and try to find the best GM you can, who can then in turn make the decision, is this the right head coach? Go out and maybe have a competition for some elite coach who wants to come in here, like a Peyton or whatever. Just have a competition for the best leadership of this team. My only concern is to me, Ross reminds me of like a tragic hero. He's got these great attributes, but then those same great attributes curse him in another way. And part of that's his loyalty. If he likes you, he's ultimately loyal. Look at everybody knew Greer should have been gone forever, but he stuck with them. And I know he likes McDaniel. He's tied him into him financially. He's tied into Tua financially. And every win, and even if we say we get 7 wins and then we compete at those last couple of games and lose, it's enough for Ross to say, you know what? I had this in place. I feel comfortable. He always talks about he likes to feel comfortable. There's certain people he doesn't feel comfortable with, and he gets rid of them quickly, and other people he does. So my concern is that we're going to win enough, compete enough to keep Champ here, to keep McDaniel here, and not have that competition, and then go through another season where maybe we reset in 27. So I don't care if they stay or they don't. Let's see. Maybe McDaniel's the best we can get. Maybe he is the best guy. Maybe Champ is, but just give me some competition. And I just fear that Ross will be comfortable enough if we win a few games and we compete just to go, I'm bringing it all back. And that just pushes the restart down the road. And my belief is they're not. I don't think Champ's the best guy we can get. Maybe we can't physically get a better guy, but there are more talented GMs. There's more talented coaches out there. So that's my take. So I totally agree. There's no reason to fire the guy. You got rid of Greer. He was the fly in the ointment. He's the guy with the longest tenure that would be the hardest to get rid of. Just keep McDaniel. Who cares? But as long as Ross is not emotionally invested, he's willing to say, you know what? I've been doing this thing, this committee-run team, this being friend too long thing. At the end of the year, I'm going to go out, do a competition, get the best guy in here. He's going to run a show. Me and my guys are going to step out of here, and we're going to get the best guy in there, whoever it is. Let's have a competition. So that's my take. So I don't know. That's it.
Shout out to everybody. We got over 120 people in here. Come on, give us some likes. We got Seth Levin from the Fish Tank, Lou from the Soul Flow Sports Show, Curtis, Finn Sammy, Finn's TV, Jason Sarney, my co-host and co-pilot on the Finn's Faithful and the Dolphins Wire. Dolphins win 13-16, 16-13 in a wild one at the end with some bizarre plays and some luck, some not so good luck, and it just
Football gods loved us at the end, didn't they?
All these games, they're all weird. They're all strange. These 9 o'clock games. It just everyone you watch seems crazy things happen. But let's talk about some positives. Start with you, Seth. The defense. What happened? What turned around for Anthony Weaver? Because he shout out to the corners. Jack Jones. Hope Juju Brents is healthy, but he seems to be getting most out of those guys. Seth, what happened to the defense here with Anthony Weaver? Because it clicked.
Well, when did it click? I mean, they had a rough start to this game. In terms of the run game, it was, they had a tough time getting off the field with 3rd and longs. That has plagued them all season long. I guess you could say there was some bend don't break, but all the same frustrations we had with our Dolphins, I imagine they're having the same issues in DC right now. I mean, if you look at it, both teams had a procedural penalty to turn their opening drives from 7 points to 3. Both teams failed to punch the ball in at the goal line. The Dolphins just doubled down and did it again. So, I mean, they had some similar issues as well that bailed us out. But ultimately, it's one of those sports where no matter how poorly you play, the defense was put on the field at the end of the game in overtime. I've never seen anything like it, but they elected to kick the ball, and they come up with a turn. How much was that? The second or third interception?
I think it was
I guess third. They had one last week, right? If he had one, so maybe the 3rd interception all season. And what better time to have it than when you need it?
And
so
it's funny is I said at the start of the show. To me, these were two teams looking at each other in the mirror. The way they played, because the Commanders' defense out with Payne's out, and there's 2 stunning corners. Their defense hasn't been good all year. But this is 2 teams. This was 2 3-7 teams I was watching. That's what I came away with in this game. Two mediocre teams, slightly below average teams playing each other, and the one who would make the most mistakes at the end would win the game. It's kind of how it played out. Lou, your thoughts on the defense, not just this game, but overall there's a change. And I'll tell you, the young defensive tackles are playing better. Jordan Phillips, what a find. He is a monster.
Violent, strong. I love that guy.
Yep.
That guy's a hero.
Yes. Defense I thought was much improved today and has been the last 2 weeks here. Even Kenneth Grant had a big run stop early on. Unfortunately, they did go for on 4th down and converted, but that was a nice play that looked like it was going to stop that drive. And then I hate blaming the refs. I'll never do that. But that penalty on Jack Jones was completely ridiculous.
Phantom. I don't know where it came out.
Back. That was all. And it was
I got to get drug tested.
Yeah, really bad. So that was a bad call. So I think that's their own. Now, George, you did mention that it was a mirror of both teams, but I'm telling you, the Commanders have looked so bad here the last 5 games, getting blown out.
Oh, yeah.
I expected that we would put more points on the board and perhaps have the defense turn them over and get a score out of it, a pick 6 or a fumble recovery, because they've been giving the ball away like nobody's business. So, but again, you escape Spain with a win, and here we are. But proud of the way the defense has put it together here and limit the offensive damage the last 2 weeks.
Sarni, your thoughts? I know we love those. I know we love Phillips. We talked about him a lot, but the defense with Weaver here, it's coming around. I think more than anything, that's the big turnaround in this team and their willingness to run the ball. By the way, when this team runs the ball more than they pass it, this is the formula. Tua is an elite game manager. This is the formula. This is what he should be and what he is. And I got to think about Tua. I want to talk about it after we go through around here. But Jason, your thoughts on kind of the defense figuring things out a little bit the last few weeks?
They are improving. They are improving. I would have liked them to be a little bit better against the rush, against the running backs. Obviously, the long run by Mariota, sometimes that happens. But, the dial has been moving positive for Anthony Weaver and his unit. And look, I really love the way, their interior lineman rookies have been playing. Zeke Biggers did okay today. You mentioned Jordan Phillips. Kenneth Grant seems to be turning a corner. And these are, foundational trench pieces that you want to build on. And again, we go back into how to improve in the draft. I think if you add a cornerback, you got to love the way Minkah Fitzpatrick is playing. You got to love the way Jordan Brooks is playing. Very unfortunate, and hope Juju Brents is okay, but I think you got to find in him. And you know what? This is a team that I think has a few more pieces that you need to add to that defense, and I think they will continue to improve. So the dial is moving in the right way there.
Sammy.
Well, while we were talking, I was checking the Dolphins records in the last 5 before today international games. They lost to the Giants in 2007. They won that famous Raider game in 2014. They lost to the Jets in 15. They lost into the Saints. They lost to the Saints in 2017, and they lost to the Jaguars in 2021. So the Dolphins usually, like I said before, in international games, they're not the best, you know.
I remember that Jaguars game.
Yes, I remember where I was too. Yes. And when they, you've seen what they're doing all week, the activities, they've been working with the community, they're trying to, make the best out of the trip for the NFL. So to stumble in a game like this, and I'm not making excuses, this is a reality. I didn't expect the Dolphins to have a great game. And at the end of the day, the defense played better. At least the scoring defense was better compared to the game against the Bills. It was better. The Ravens for a while they were hanging in there, and the Wheels came out in the second half. So the defense, the scoring defense at least is playing much better. You can see them. They're playing to the whistle. They look more disciplined. They look like they're tougher. And we experienced so many times about the Dolphins not being sometimes tough enough, but they play hard. So that's encouraging. So at least with the defense, I see Anthony Weaver, having control of his defense, having control of his troops, and that's encouraging for the defensive side of the ball. I want Anthony Weaver to become a head coach of this season, so I don't get 2 third-round picks. So I'm gonna keep rooting for that defense. I'm gonna keep rooting for Anthony Weaver.
I don't think Anthony Weaver is becoming a head coach.
You never know. You never know. I probably think he's gonna be a better head coach than defensive coordinator. Because if Mike McDaniel had the passion that Anthony Weaver has over those men, we would say he's a leader of men. So don't ever underestimate the power that someone like Anthony Weaver, who's a leader, who has strong like that, has. He might get a job at the NFL as head coach. You never know.
Seth, I don't know how long you have with us, but you wanna give some thoughts and what you got going on at the fish tank. Give us where they can find it, what shows you guys got, you and OJ got coming up.
Yeah, I appreciate it. No, well, final thought. I mean, it's a win. It's a win.
Yeah.
They won 3 out of the last 4. It was definitely gave all of us something to talk about because it was a head scratcher at the end there, but they found a way to win. And I love what you just said there, Sammy, is that they have not won in these international games. I did my whole I tried to tell y'all segment on the fact that I hate when they go out a week early. I don't think this team has performed well every time they try to do their bonding. These are business trips. And the more time that you give people out of their environment, and especially when they're in an amazing city in a new country. Perhaps that's part of why we saw a little bit of a lackluster performance until they figured it out at the end. So I don't love that, but I love that they won. And, this is their first winning streak of the entire season. Who knows what it'll turn into? I know for some of you, Curtis, I understood your fears early. For those who don't want Mike McDaniel to run it back, I get where you're a little conflicted, but I'm a Dolphins fan at the end of the day. I like to turn on the television and see the Dolphins with more points than their opponents. So I'm looking at the top of this screen here, 16-13. I'll live with it. We'll figure it out. Yeah, as far as the fish tank, we're just having fun. We've got some interviews intermixed with. We're really enjoying the space that you guys operate in, is that live space. So we'll have our Wednesday night live again. It'll be Juice, myself. Typically, Chris Perkins joins us, and I know Perk has been on this show. Running joke, by the way, that when Perk is on our show,
to fix his camera.
High-five. And then he came on here.
I had no idea Perk was going. I found out Perk was going on your show. I go, wow, he's coming on. Is he still coming on our show right after? And then Perk said, no problem. I'm on the fish tank. And then I went back and watched, and I saw that. And
whatever you did to his damn camera, it worked out pretty well. But I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you guys having me. Thank you for inviting me. You guys are doing really cool.
Let's try to get you and OJ on it. You both on at the same time. We had you guys separately, but
we're a lot more interesting when he's with me. Trust me.
All right, thanks, brother.
Take care.
Nice to meet you. Be well, Seth.
Hold on, Lou. What was that?
Seth, sorry, before you go, I'm just a big fan of the fish tank. Who's the best guest you've ever had on, the most enjoyable guest? And then who's the one that you haven't got on that you want on?
Oh, great question.
So great, both are great questions. Thank you for listening to the show. We've had a lot of really good ones, so it's hard for me to say the best. You know, recently we had Kenny Stills, and he was so good. He was so good and so interesting and so introspective, and I thought that was great. And look, we've had, you know, when Dan came on the show, that was incredibly, I guess, transformational for the show. So just had, I mean, 200 something shows. It's hard for me to pick the best, but I do like when we have people that a lot of folks go, who was that? Or I barely remember that guy. And then they end up being incredible guests because they have powerful stories. Like a guy like Larry Shannon, for example, you know, a guy who basically had a couple practices before he blew out his knee, and it changed his entire life when that happened. And there's a guy that Jimmy Johnson tried to say, hey, it's okay, we didn't get Randy Moss yet. This guy, you know, stories like that are really powerful. So that's interesting. Somebody that we haven't had on who we really would love to have on. So Matt Roth is at the top of the list for me. You know, we've heard so many great Matt Roth stories, particularly those from Channing Crowder. But Roth he's an absolute maniac in the best of ways, and we'd love to get him. I've talked to him, and he dodged me pretty well, but we'll see. I'd like to
come on, man. You're listening.
Like get on the show. Podcasting right there.
That's it. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the evening or afternoon.
Be well.
All right, take care.
Be well, Seth. Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, Seth, great guy, man. A lot of guests coming on the spot. Good job, Jason.
You're big time, man. You're big time.
That's Sarney. That's Sarney. You know, that's Sarney. But we big time. We need more likes in this video, more subscriptions, and more viewers on YouTube. Guys, come on this post-game show. I see other post-game shows going on. I'm telling you, this is the one to be at. But you'll find out sooner or later. All right. I want to talk about something about Tua. Let me get to before I do that. Let me get to the sponsor before I forget. I'm not good at remembering the sponsor of the post-game show. That's Rescue Tech 305 IT service. Make sure you guys, Mike's a big Dolphin fan. Make sure you call or text him at 305-504-TECH. That's 305-504-8324. Or email Mike at rescuetech305.com or visit rescuetech305.com. It's a local service. I've used them. They do great stuff. Tell them the Fins Faithful sent you, and they'll hook you up in all your IT tech needs. We appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. All right. I want to get into something about Tua because when I'm watching this game, I don't know about you guys. You know, again, this was a game where I felt, man, this is where I want my $50 million quarterback to make a difference, make play, one or two plays. It's just, now we won the game. Regardless, we won the game. But I want to go around. I want to go around the board here. If you guys felt the same, I saw you shaking your head, Lou. I'll start with you. It's just, this is the type of game when I tell you $50 million, quarterbacks make a difference, one or two. Even Mariota making that run for 40-some yards when it's not in our offense, it's not in our weapon. It's not possible. I'm not saying you have to be the most mobile quarterback, but I saw one or two plays where it showed you the limited athleticism of Tua Tagovailoa. And I just thought he played fine. He was a game manager. I think this is where Tua, when you run the ball successfully, Tua can play off the play action RPO as good as anybody. But I just thought this stood out to me is when I mentioned one or two plays make a difference on the quarterback. And don't talk about offensive line because there's 3 or 4 teams that get protected. Put on the red zone. All these quarterbacks are running for their life. So there's about 4, 5, 6, if you want to push it, 7 teams that protect their quarterback really good.
I'm going to disagree on that one.
Okay. Lou, did you have that same sensation watching Tua that this game, 1 or 2 plays from my supposed franchise quarterback?
Yeah, no doubt. Look, a game manager, and you don't get a guy with the 5th pick overall to be a game manager. I'm sorry. Now, you're coming off a tremendous running effort from H-Hand specifically last week, so they wanted to feature the run. That's fine. But 20 throws, granted, he completed 14 of them, but 20 throws in a game off a team that, as I just mentioned, in the Commanders that have given up 38 points, 42 points, 44 points in the last 5 weeks. This was an opportunity for him to feast. And he only took 1 shot downfield to Waddle. Again, a poor decision, as it could have been intercepted. So now Waddle did miss a ball as well, and he wasn't on the same page with Dulcich, where it looked like actually that was on him, not on Tua. He wanted to go out, and he went in. But again, he's a guy that hasn't only been on the team since October the 22nd. So Tua should know better, than go to him at that point of the game. So I just, again, 20 throws in the game. going up against a defense that's given up that many points the last several weeks, you start to wonder. And then you look at the other side of the field, as you just mentioned, where Mariota, who's a backup, a journeyman at this point. He's been with the Raiders, been with Tennessee, with Washington, been all over the place, and he's a backup at this point of his career. You know, he had a better game than him. Obviously, he had to pick at the end there, but statistically, he had a better game than Tua, and he brings the element that Tua just can't bring with that 44-yard scramble. He also had 2 other plays where he took off and used his legs to move the chains. So, you know, what are we looking at here? And has Tua, yes, this is a nice win, 16-13 over the Commanders, but when is he going to have that signature win late in the year when it counts? I guess we'll have to wait and find out, but to date, in 6 years in, it hasn't happened.
If it was going to happen, it already happened. Curtis, you disagree?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, look, I would say there's probably about 10 to 12 teams that have good offensive lines. And I mean good offensive lines when you compare to us. So just like if you look at JS or Strange, they are the 2 worst guards in the league. And you've got probably one of the worst or top 5 worst right tackles. And you have no depth. So how can you look at an offensive line and say, hey, we got 2 of the worst position players at guard and probably top 5 worst at the right tackle. We've got a pretty good center who's got one big weakness, is struggles with power. And then a tackle that's pretty good, and say, hey, so to me, Tua is average. He's a game manager. But the one elite trait he has is getting that ball out quick, which uplifts a terrible. If you look, remember the one play where they like, oh, Tua had forever, and the guy, I think it was Waddle, crossed over and he threw the deep ball. There's other quarterbacks in the league that get that 4 or 5 times a game, and we rarely see that. And so we live in an accelerated clock, and you can go back and check to 2022 when that clock was probably 0.2 seconds more on average, and you could see how much impact he had, the depth of his tackle. I'm not saying he's elite. What I'm saying is this framework is supported by his speed of throw, because this offensive line. So just a quick example, and this is a loose understanding because the data changes a little bit, but at halftime, Mariota was blitzed 44% with only 25% pressure. He had 44% play action. His average depth of target was 8.8. But look at Tua. He had 101 quarterback rating compared to Mariota at 95. He was blitzed 36% of the time, which is 8% less. And he suffered 11% more, 36% pressure, and he ran 72% play action with 5.5 average depth of target. And so when you saw Tua through that ugly pick, there was only 2 guys in routes. You had guys floating on the outside, 2 guys in routes with 6 guys in coverage. And this is a bad framework. So if he is an average quarterback or above average quarterback, this kind of framework is going to make him look worse, where if you put him in another framework, and you can see something simple like just running the damn football makes him all of a sudden look semi-coherent. So it's like we've operated in this fantasy framework probably from 23 on or late 22 on. So I think we have a terrible offensive line. I don't think there's great offensive lines, but there's great offensive lines in comparison to us. And so I think he is able to, like, you look at some of the route combinations, they're whack. I mean, just think about you see some of these good call, play callers. We ran 0 screens in the first half and we're being blitzed out the wazoo. You don't see like small route combinations for a first down. I think I saw a curl on like 3 games ago, and I haven't seen it since. Everything is these deep, long, protracted plays that he can get off quick. I don't know. I just think the kid has got a clear, massive issue with his health, although he's looking good this year. But he's definitely being held down. I mean, look at Tannehill. He sucked. And he goes to the Titans. He goes to the conference championship. So I just think that the general framework for any quarterback that's been with the Dolphins for a number of years has been low. Last good framework was probably Gailey in 2020, and he had no talent. So I don't know. I think Look, he's clearly got issues. He clearly sees ghosts. Once in a while, he flubs the ball. He's got an injury history. Izzy missed the clutch, but this frame, what McDaniel's running a show, and it's second down and 2, and you're going into the red zone, and he calls 2 passes on the outside, and then he doesn't kick the field goal on 4th down. He gets plays in late. Did you see how many times Mariota got to the line of scrimmage with 14 seconds to go in the play clock? And we're constantly getting out in year 4, 6 or 7 seconds. The one delay of the game, it was 7 seconds going to 6 seconds, and he had to do 2 motions. So to me, it's just the setup sucks. Tua isn't great, but it sure isn't enhancing him mostly.
That's funny. That's funny you say that. You believe Tua's biggest strength is getting the ball out quick, and he's best when the ball's coming out like 2.5 seconds.
I wouldn't say it's his best.
I think one of the most overrated facts we're saying, if he has more time, it's going to be a big difference. Tua's best when the ball's off that back foot plan, he knows where he's going, and it's out and through a spot. Him with a lot more seconds is going to help, but it's not going to be like a Josh Allen or a Justin. I think it's one of the most overstated facts that with more time, we're going to see such a better quarterback.
Well, look at compared to 2022. His clean time was 2.35, and he had the number 1 depth of target, yards per catch. It was the most when he was healthy, when he wasn't knocked out. But you go to compare 22, and it was 2.35. The next year went to 2.09. Then it went to 2.02. So I'm not saying.
Yeah, I get your point. No doubt. But I'm just saying there's this. He'll be better, but it's not that he's going to be so much better because I think when he knows where he's going, you see all the stuff they run, the ball handling, the play action, the fake toss, and he knows where it's going. That slant or whatever route, it's gone. It's not. And he's as good as anybody. They teach RPO stuff off there. Yeah. I just think that's where he's his best anyways. But, Jason, your thoughts on Tua today? Because I will say that one play you're talking about where he waited and got time to waddle, he looked really comfortable. We talked about him being uncomfortable, Jason, and I'm going to go to you, Sammy. He's looking more comfortable in the pocket to me.
Yeah, sure. No, definitely an improvement from the first 5-6 games, save maybe the Panthers game. I didn't think he had much wrong with him there. But, he did try to evade a couple of those sacks a little bit better than just – he got sacked several times, but it actually looked like he was trying to make something happen, which that's good comfort. That actually tells me that he's not playing – timid or scared, or maybe there is a little bit of more strength in his overall body to kind of try to extend the play. I mean, look, he wasn't a world beater with his statistics. I didn't love that first down bomb call to Waddle into double coverage. You do that. You do that on 3rd down.
Yeah, but he's been doing that the last few games. It should have been pinned out.
I have minimal problem with a punt throw on 3rd and long when you flip the field, but on 1st down, and he shouldn't have thrown that into double coverage. You knew that was going to end up getting Waddle versus 2 defenders when the ball was right out of his throw. So that I would have wished he had that one back. But look, this is a team win. They got a little lucky with Bailey punting, creating a fumble. They got lucky with them going for it on 3rd and 4th down, going for it on 4th down after being stuffed in the end zone on 3rd down and not kicking the field goal. That's the other story. Did Tua win this game for the Dolphins? No. Did he put the Dolphins in position to lose this game because of him? No. So you know what? Sometimes that works, So he played fine, not a world-beating performance, but Dolphins did what they needed to do at times in 3 phases of the game, throughout the game, to win an international game. So I'm not going to pick Tua apart for really anything. I'm not going to praise him for really anything. Right down the middle for Tua today.
Sammy? You're muted.
Mute.
It's even better when I'm muted. We're talking so many weeks now about what we wanted the Dolphins to do. We wanted the Dolphins to control the clock. We wanted the Dolphins to be efficient running the ball. We wanted the Dolphins to protect Tua. He took some sacks today that were horrible. But he's playing with Asian, who dropped 3 passes, Julian Hill, who what happened today with Julian Hill. Malik Washington, who's a player I love, I think he's a great athlete. I think he's a good player. No, Malik Washington, but I don't think he can run a crisp route to save his life. He has issues running the right route sometimes. He's a football player. He gets the ball. He gets the job done. But there's a reason why they're using that running back. They're using that like the Debo type of wide receiver because he's not a crisp wide receiver. So that's the reality is what he's playing with. So I'm not making excuses for Tua. It's on him. Sometimes he does the stupidest things you ever seen. It's really frustrating. That's undeniable. There's no way you can defend that. But let's be serious here. That offensive line, you can have Dan Marino behind that offensive line. He would not be Dan Marino.
I didn't think it was that. Somebody else. Did you think the offensive line was a problem today for pass protection?
I'm not saying there was a problem, but for a statue quarterback, Dan Marino behind the offensive line, they will breach them every single time. So there's a reason why they did not do that with Tua also, because Tua has done some things that make them not do that. So I'm not saying they run the ball okay, and they want to basically say the Dolphins. When Dejan went down with the injury, the same thing. The first thing I did was speaking to my ex to see what Jason had said something, because I said, "Oh boy," for sure.
Those two runs.
It was like, oh no, that's the only thing that's missing.
Go ahead, Tim.
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I love Achane. I know he has the ability to run between the tackles. I know he has the ability to create after contact. But you drafted Ollie Gordon to make that third down run, whereas
Jalen Wright.
And Jalen Wright, absolutely correct. And you could put in that heavy package. You can make an effective play call run, which they did not necessarily do on third down. And then on fourth down, the play was to make a field goal. That, to me, but that could also have a bigger worry about the confidence in the defense. But the fact of the matter is, I love Achane for everywhere on the field, but I would prefer inside the two. You give it to the guy who could specialize in that. And I know he didn't make it on fourth down, but it never should have come to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, when you think about it, guys, look, this offensive line can do some stuff, but Jonas really struggles with immediate contact. Brewer doesn't have power. Strange. Did you see Strange get blown up? There was one pass play. He was blown up on skates and into his pocket in 1.3 seconds. He's terrible. So how do you, if that's your big go-to play, it makes no sense because you had 2 yards to go. They were aiming for it. So I don't know.
But why wasn't Alec Ingold in there? Ahead of Gordon. Well, at fourth down they waited too late for that. But on third down,
he's missed some blocks this year. Yeah,
I get it, but it
Julian Hill too.
That was the one.
He had a bad play. Yeah,
you're talking about one by the goal line, right?
It was like whoop. See ya.
Yeah, but still, give him one extra guy in to block for him. And you slam it in with Gordon. That was the play on third down for what Jason said. It shouldn't have come on fourth down, and it should have been the points there. But you would have been set up nicer, I think, if you have Ingold in there in front of him and give him one more added set of protection.
Hey guys, I'm sorry, I got to run. Lou, Sammy, Jason, George. I apologize. I got to run. The wife is coming. I got to get bringing the groceries.
No, it's all right. We're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. I want to show a video. Thank you, Curtis. We appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Good.
Be good.
Well, Curtis. One thing I do realize how much the countdown to game day show with Curtis helps me for Sunday. I missed it. The over-unders, we really get into the details. I know the game better heading into Sunday. I missed that show. So me taking that show off made me appreciate. So make sure you guys catch that on Saturdays when we come back from the bye week at 10:30 a.m. Curtis and I. All right, I want to play this video. This was Ian Rappaport. I want to kind of dissect this, and you guys tell me what you get out of the little take that he had this morning regarding McDaniel and Tua coming back.
We'll start with the Mike McDaniel future here, because that one for sure is in question. A rough start for the Miami Dolphins. You mentioned it, Chris Greer, the general manager, fired. Now, my understanding of where it goes from here for Mike McDaniel is that owner Stephen Ross wants him to continue to be the head coach, has supported him, has invested in him, believes in him. if at all possible, would like McDaniel to continue. That's going to be decided by how the players respond on the field. Is this locker room still behind him? Now, they got a good result last week, beating the Bills pretty badly. If that continues, sure, it is possible Mike McDaniel could stay for next season. If that happens, there is a much better chance that Tua Tagovailoa, his quarterback, is the quarterback next year as well. And yes, they do have $54 million fully guaranteed to Tua. If they wanted to move on from him, they can. Teams have done in the past. Russell Wilson, the most noteworthy example. But it is fair to say these two futures are tied together. There is no bigger champion in the Dolphins building for Tua than his head coach, Rich.
Okay,
All right.
what are the breaking news over there? Nothing new.
No,
We know that.
no, I think you got to read between the lines of some of these things. Lou, do you have any thoughts on that? And then I'll get to it after you go. I'll go last.
Listen, at the beginning of the year, and by now you guys all know that I made these fake statements. I know sophomoric and childish behavior on my part, but I did it because Ross did it. He released
That was good. I like it. I love it.
He released that statement at the end of last year saying, hey, and he released it, by the way, because he heard the noise. And he was like, all right, I'm going to release a statement to quiet that noise and say that both Greer and McDaniel are coming back and we expect to win. Well, we're not winning. Okay. And now if McDaniel goes on this crazy run and gets in the playoffs, I still think he has to win a playoff game because ultimately that's what he doubled down for when he released that statement at the end of last year against the Jets. And that's what he should be held accountable towards. So I think McDaniel, and plus by getting to the playoffs, if that happens, he would have had to have won tough cold weather games in Pittsburgh and in New England last game of the year that could very well mean the division or even a number one seed for them at this point, plus a cold weather game in New York. So he's definitely going to have to earn it. But anything less than a playoff win, in my opinion, I think he's out. With regards to Tua, you heard in that report with Rapport what he said that the Broncos did it with Russell Wilson, and the Giants did it with Daniel Jones as well. You have to identify, based on the end of the season, if he's the guy or not. And you can't go into year 7 without a playoff win under your belt, without a division title under your belt, and hoping that year 7 or 8 or 9 could be the answer. You just can't keep on going with it. So I think that we got to move on from both at the end of the year. I'm sticking to that no matter what happens.
Right. So, and Sammy says it's kind of the same way, but Ian Rappaport doesn't go on national TV before a game and say these kind of things. Somebody wants that to be out there. Somebody wants that narrative to be out there. He just has to go do that. So, Jason, what's the narrative there? Because I had everybody was saying, "Oh, this means McDaniel and Tua coming back." I didn't get that. I got like nothing has been decided, but it did say they're a package deal. What did you get? We're trying to. Like I said, this doesn't come out of nowhere. What do you think was behind that message there if you kind of read into it? Because I have a couple things that I heard that kind of made me think one way. But you go first.
I mean, organizationally, they would love for Tua and McDaniel to, become exactly what they expected each of them to be. This organization fell in love with Tua. That's why they drafted him 5th. Ross has been such a champion, to use Rappaport's word, of Mike McDaniel, who has been a champion of Tua, save a couple of bits of frustration in certain games like the Cleveland game, But will the ideal happen with Tua being that guy, McDaniel learning from his mistakes, and those two going to the next steps together? I can't make that guarantee. But right now, as Sammy said, this isn't news. They're probably going to be back. They're probably not going to take the $54 million hit. This is not the year to draft a quarterback in the first round. Yeah.
I don't know that yet.
Well, I think not yet, sure, fine, but you have Ewers, you have Tua. I would draft or sign a quarterback in the offseason. And again, to what I was saying, you have an opportunity to add certain pieces to this team that could immediately be beneficial to them. Like I said, that prototypical type of receiver that could help Tua, another offensive lineman that could help Tua, So I
guess I'm trying to figure out what was the point of that.
There was no point. It was clickbait. It's a Sunday early morning game where Rappaport's going to come out with something that everyone's going to listen to him because it's the first game of the season.
There were no other news at 7 a.m. in the morning.
I totally
What are they
disagree
going to
with
say?
that. I disagree with that.
wasn't
Everything that's said by Rappaport, it has a meaning behind it. There is an agenda behind
thing
everything.
that Rappaport said. I'm not. Look, he's no individual that needs the clicks. There's one of 4 or 5 people that are going to. This is what he does.
But he doesn't need clicks, though, Jason.
He doesn't need clicks. But he also has bosses. He also has people that want him to put out things that people are going to talk about. And this is an NFL Network game. And he said, "Okay, this is the narrative right now." Like you almost have to say something like
you
that.
you have an 8 a.m. show, pregame show.
Yeah.
The Dolphins are featured in Spain. That's the feature game of the morning, and the producer says,
So
"We need something on the Dolphins."
information. He collects information. He has remember, he's got a reputation to uphold. You think he
has a producer? He has to respond to the producer. Say, "Say something about the Dolphins and my Daniel and Tua." That's it.
This
So,
was low-hanging
here's what I got.
type of coverage for him.
Yeah.
This was easy. That's going to
Here's
get a
what
reaction.
what I got out of it. Because, and first of all, I agree with you, Lou. I'm tired of everybody saying McDaniel's going to come back if they win 7 or 8 games. That's the narrative here. Everybody, I disagree with everybody's. This is all I hear. I don't agree.
Lou said they made the playoffs.
I don't agree, but he's coming back with 8 wins. If you don't agree, you better say, you better go loud on top of the fence that he shouldn't be back if they win 7 or 8 games. Because I'm tired of everybody saying, we win 8 games. Oh, I don't agree with it, but he's coming back. If we were 4-8, or what are we, 4-7? 4-7? When we talked at the beginning of the season, we're 4-7. McDaniel leaving Madrid, should he be on the plane? Hell no. Everybody's answer on this panel will be. So the fact that it's not a big deal, it's a big deal. Because we do these shows, and we're going to be sitting here doing it again with McDaniel next year with the same bullshit. So it is a big deal. Number 2, he didn't, when I listened to that, he said, if the team play, not the record, if the team plays well for him, Stephen Ross knows this team is going to play well for Mike McDaniel because, as Lo-Fi said, these are veterans who are overpaid and are starting where a lot of these. Jordan Brooks is at the star of a defense, a star of a team on anywhere else. I like Jordan Brooks, but that's a vacuum evaluation about Jordan Brooks. By the way, he's not. That's not. He's the leader. Nowhere else in the league on a really good team is Jordan Brooks that guy. They like Mike. They like the situation. They're in Miami in a country club. If they didn't like Mike, like if he was Adam Gase, that's when they don't play because they want things to change if their guys are going to stay here. That's why they play for Mike. Nothing to do with Mike being a leader.
Listen, Omar. Chill, Omar, chill.
Is he the best leader of men? No, but people can want to play for him because they respect him.
Sammy wants Mike back.
Look, let's face it.
No, wait.
If this was one of Curtis's like war reference, are you going to storm the beaches of Normandy behind Mike McDaniel? Maybe not.
No.
Maybe not. Probably not. But are you a guy or a team that collectively respects what type of a person and what type of a human that he is? Look, I don't mean to like play this violin or whatever, but this is a guy who's attacked demons in his life, and he's came out the other side. He's a guy that has given people opportunity to do the same. He's a guy that has shown confidence. And I'm not a guy that defends Mike McDaniel 1,000%. I'd be fine if they bring a new head coach in, but let's be fair when we have to be fair. Is he the general of generals? No. But is he a guy that people are going to not quit on? 2 things could be true.
And since you're putting words under my mouth, I want some time before Lou speaks. Give me a chance over here.
Sammy wants Mike back.
Don't make me go nuclear, George. Don't make me go nuclear. Okay, give me a second over here. Now you ask Ivan. Give me a second over here. Listen, we blame all of the offseason that Chris Greer had to go because the roster he made was a poor roster. Mike McDaniel is playing with the roster that got Chris Greer fired, right? If with this,
he helped build.
No, you don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know. You don't know. You're not there. You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know that. No.
He went into the office. This is publicly announced.
No.
We don't need
publicly. Has Matt McDaniel said that?
Let me finish. Wait.
No. You interrupted me.
We need weapons, not offensive linemen. And you saw that was all Wildcat stuff. That all came to that was not real. That was just catching the league by storm. and they didn't go. Now you see what they need. They run the ball to us better, and they win when they run more than pass. That he helped construct that roster. He also helped sign Tua to that big contract. In the story. Case closed.
Can I speak? Can I
Case
speak?
closed.
Can I please speak? Thank you. Now you listen to me.
I love Sammy, but
we talk about this. We had to go out of his show. Don't make it boring. Come on, people, chill. We talked about this before. So to be honest, of course, Chris Greer is going to build a team that Mike McDaniel wants according to his visions. Yes, that we agree with. But you cannot say that basically he's the one making the decisions. That's not here or there. Give me a chance to finish.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. If Mike McDaniel, because what Lou said, Lou didn't say get to 7 wins. Lou said if this team made the playoffs and wins a game, that's what Lou said. If this team makes the playoffs and wins the game, Mike McDaniel should be coach of the year. That's not gonna happen. Let me tell you right here, right now. That's not gonna happen. No one here believes that the Dolphins are gonna run the table and win the whole rest of the games. If you go to the schedule, I have the schedule here. You're worried that we won today. They had the Saints. Were they better than the Saints? Yes. They had the Jets. We'll see about that because they probably could have lost the last game. Then they had the Steelers. The Bengals were getting healthier. The Buccaneers were going to win the division, and they ate the game in Foxborough. If Mike McDaniel runs the table, he should be coach of the year, and it's not going to happen. So that's no here or there. We can complain. We can make a whole story of what's going to happen next. It's not going to happen. We're so worried right now that Mike McDaniel is going to get this team and rally him. It's not going to happen. It's too much. They should have probably lost today, and it didn't happen. So, we're making an argument about what Mike McDaniel is going to do. I think, okay, did the Dolphins won this game handily? No. So they won, but they should have won better than this, and it didn't happen. You evaluate about what happened. That's one. Number two, you don't know what's inside the building. You don't know truly how much command Mike McDaniel has this year compared to last year with the people getting late without we don't know. Those teams, we didn't know what's happening inside the building last year with all the penalties and all the fines and stuff. We're gonna know this later. We think we know, but we just don't know. We can't imagine, we can't assume everything. And it's fun to talk about it because that's what we do. I get that. But again, if Mike McDaniel runs the table, they should not be real bad. He should be coach of the year. And it's not gonna happen. This team is not built to do that, and Mike McDaniel is not the coach who's gonna do that. No matter what, it's not gonna happen.
And so to piggyback on that, and I agree with you, Sammy. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's too difficult of a path, and the teams ahead of us, it's just going to be too difficult to navigate. I hope it does. I'm not going to.
Absolutely.
You want to end this horrific playoff drought that we're in? I just don't see it. And so, and he's not going to come back. Then why delay the inevitable? And this is what I want. I want to go back to that report that you played. Let's say that today's result ended up with a Commander's win, specifically on McDaniel not kicking field goal, and then calling time and helping the Commanders get down in a position to potentially win the game on their field goal. Because if you saw that first completion, they were jogging up to the ball. They were playing for overtime. McDaniel helped them with 2 straight timeouts. So here's my question to you guys. Per that report that you just played from Ian Rappaport, if McDaniel lost today's game in that fashion, or even worse than a blowout, and we all looked at this when the Dolphins started off poorly, then Madrid, with it being the bye week next week, would have been the perfect opportunity to let him go. Do you believe that he would have been fired if they had lost the game?
No.
You don't believe so?
No.
I
think Ross made his mind. Yes, I think Ross made his mind already. He's not
the whole year. When I agree with Sammy, when he says something, that's he says he's going to be here the rest of the year. He's going to be here the rest of the year.
If we would have fired, he would have fired both. When it's a soft vote of confidence when he fired Chris Greer, is because that's what was so embarrassing that he needed to do something, and he basically put the blame on Chris Greer and get a vote of confidence, soft confidence by Daniel. But at the end of the year, I used to believe that they were all gonna come back. I'm not so sure right now. George and I have flip-flop. I think George believes he's going to come back, and I'm the one going the other way. So it's kind of funny when you think about it. We don't know what the hell's going to go on. Exactly. That's my point. It happens from week to week. We just don't know. But I think that probably this is the right time when you start firing people that were with Greer for over 25, 30 years. People with the Don Shula regime, with the Don Wanster regime. This has been a while. changes are coming. I think Stephen Ross is really thinking about making changes, no matter what it takes. I truly believe that I was at 100% of them coming back, and that excludes Tua. Now 51% by Daniel, and if you're on Tua, they can find someone to trade him with. I will not be shocked if they find a way to trade to Tua if they can.
Listen, this where we are. You get rid of Chris Greer, and you have a very small evaluation period of Champ Kelly. Look, you make one deal and you trade Jalen Phillips. Got a 3rd-round pick. Nice. Okay. We don't know the extent of the phone calls that he made, the work that he was doing. Stephen Ross does. The brass knows what he was doing. So to me, I would like the same thing that I've been saying for quite a while. You bring in, and if it's Champ Kelly, whatever, fine. But I would love for them to bring in a brand new GM, and that GM make his or her decisions. And if it is one more year with McDaniel, that's that GM's decision. If it is hiring a brand new scouting department, which they need to do anyway, because they let several top guys go.
We talked about it. I do like that they let those 2 guys go.
It's setting the stage for either Champ Kelly or a brand new GM to hire in their image. And so if it's Champ Kelly, if he wants McDaniel to be that coach, it's got to be his decision. If it's another general manager, that general manager should not accept that job unless Stephen Ross literally says, this is your show. Just tell me what happens after and where I have to sign. And that's it.
I agree.
Yes.
I agree. But I don't think it happens in that order. If they're not going to bring Mike back, he's fired, and then they look for a GM. I think that's how it works. Because you're getting the best candidate. Hey, you want Mike and Tua back? Hell no. You know what I mean? Like,
you could hire a GM that Black Friday, essentially. For teams that
I think
save one person, save Alex Hallaby, who ain't leaving until the Super Bowl is over. Right. That's who I want ideally. If there is a plan in place to bring a guy like that in, a deputy of a top 3 or 4 general manager. Look, let's face it, Howie Roseman ain't going nowhere. If it's time for Hallaby to take that next step, this is the job for him. This is the job for him.
If you want Hallaby, like I said, if you're getting Hallaby, you have to fire McDaniel already before you even do the interview. If you want Hallaby.
I disagree there because I do think that those 2 could have a year together, and it's his decision.
He is a top GM. He could have the pick of his litter.
Of course, but let him be the one to fire.
He's going to waste his first year.
No way. Right away.
No way.
He gets into the building, evaluation, and fire him.
Exactly.
And fires him.
Here's the chronology.
Let him fire him. Let him fire him.
Here's the timeline. In my hypothetical sugar-coated world that sometimes I like to live in with my orange and aqua glasses, you roll out the aqua carpet for Hallaby. And the first thing Hallaby does day one is he says, interview you, 1 o'clock, interview you, 2 o'clock, interview you, 3 o'clock. And by the end of the day, if he wants to fire the whole lot, fire them all. If that's what he wants to do. And then
you download first.
I'm telling you that's
you download first.
Wait,
you download first.
I'm telling you he's going to want to do that.
But you know what? Then that's fine by me. If that's fine
really,
by
what's
me.
the difference? Fire McDaniel for
because it shows everyone in that building who is
who's the boss.
That's what you need, George. That's what I'm trying to say. If you
for sure, we hire you, then fire him.
Yes.
Okay, I get it.
No, not hire McDaniel. You hire the GM.
No, hire him and fire him. Because if Alex thinks about McDaniel, I question our new leader.
No.
Back me on this, bro. I know you're with me on this one.
It sends a reverberation down the league.
You know what sends a reverberation? End of the season, McDaniel gone. Fire.
No, I said Lou is not with you. That's what I said. Lou is not with you. He's with us.
That's a decision that Stephen Ross is going to make, and a lot of
every candidate, you have a blank canvas. We have 5 picks in the top 100. You can do whatever you want with this roster.
It's the same.
It's the same. But
pretty
you're not
similar.
getting Alex Hallaby with Mike McDaniel as your coach.
You're getting Alex Hallaby to do whatever the hell he wants.
Yes, you download. You get your exit interview and fire him later.
Let me give you the difference. Okay. 2022. Do you know why established head coaches did not want to come on in? Because they were told This is your coordinator. We're not firing defensive coordinator Josh Boyer. They were told that. So now if Ross comes in and says, I don't know what I want to do with Mike McDaniel. I like him, but I like you as a candidate to run my organization. I'm giving you the keys. Whatever you decide, I will support. That's what I'm trying to say. So if Hallaby says, I want to watch McDaniel for 1 year, but here's everyone else that I'm going to hire because I don't give a shit about you, Ross, and your what you want, or you, McDaniel, and what you need. This is my team, says Hallaby. Now, if he wants to fire, that's what's going to send the reverberation around the league and around the team. Because you know who's doing it? The second in command to the best goddamn general manager that we've seen in the last decade. That's what I'm trying to say. So if it is Hallaby, I'd follow him on the beaches of Normandy because the person that he's been following has done the best job in the league.
Right. I think they also, but here's the point. Ross will have a sense of what kind of Hallaby wants to do. Teams know who are they bringing with them. Like teams already know that. Lou, what are your thoughts on this?
Man, McDaniel's not my guy. I'm sorry. He's had more than enough opportunities. Black Monday rolls around right after that New England game. I'm pulling the trigger on him. But I can see Jason's perspective.
You're with Lou. You're with me. You're with me.
I would say I'm more with you, yes. However, remember, Ross has got to be very careful because he cannot tamper anymore. He cannot tamper. So he can make that call and say, hey, do you want McDaniel? He might have to pull the trigger first and not lose him. So that's all I'll say on that.
Awesome. Oh, yeah. You guys brought up the report. Go, Jason, go ahead.
No, it's not. It's like it's putting the cart before the horse.
It's like, are you eating dessert or the main course first? It's the same thing. You're eating both. But what you're having first?
In this restaurant reference, I'm hiring the maitre d' to make all the decisions, or an executive chef to rock with his kitchen. Okay. And again, I look at the level of like my background and what I do for a living in the employment world and hiring world. If you replace someone at the top, you give that person the keys to hire people under them, not to inherit. If there is a diamond in the rough, like you love a couple of assistants, you don't want to maybe clean house. You want an opportunity for that new boss to interview internally and say, you know what? I'm going to keep you, not so much you five, so that includes McDaniel to me.
Okay. I get you. No, I know where you're going with this. What are the odds that you land Hallaby and you say all that, he keeps Mike? What are the odds in your opinion?
I don't know. I 50-50 because it's a yes or no. You know what I mean?
I think we're differing on here. I'd say it's 0. That's where we differ. Like I'm more certain that the top GM candidate, Dennis Hickey, is the best GM you can get. Champ Kelly's the best GM you can get. Keeping Mike and Tua. You're not getting a better candidate than that. I promise you that. That Diana Rossini report is bullshit. Oh, top G. Now that's narrative driven. Somebody wanted that out there, right?
Oh no, but the other one doesn't. Come on. Which one does it?
Tell you the truth.
Both of them are narrative driven. You talk about both of them are. People don't. Those guys just don't talk. People, Diana Rossini, they don't just talk. The reason they put the. Wait, let me finish.
There's one that says inside the Dolphins, this is what they want. The other says people on the league believes that, but you think the one with the plans and inside the Dolphins is the one that really matters.
Two different report. This is what kind of GMs. No, that wasn't decisive. Ian Rappaport didn't say one way or the other they're coming back. This is a separate report. This is teams are willing. Top veteran executives, GM candidates are willing to come to the Dolphins with that duo. I pretty much bet a lot on that. That's not true. But now I lost my point because Sammy had to throw something at me as usual. Lou, okay, so here's the thing. I think we're both saying the same thing, Jason. But
pretty much,
Sammy and Lou, percentage of Hallaby coming in and keeping McDaniel or what?
I think
it's not coming. I said that again because set me up and then Lou said. So say that again.
Hallaby's not coming. You said.
Oh yes, Hallaby's not coming.
Why is he not coming?
Why would
because Mike McDaniel's the head coach still.
Oh come on, stop it.
That's why he's not coming. Lou.
You're missing the point, though, George.
Don't put words in my mouth, George.
It doesn't matter that you hire the guy and he 10 minutes later does what we all think. You fire it. You give the direction to the guy you're bringing in already in the interview. We have made the decision to clean house, give you the proper. It doesn't. I don't need Alec Halaby to come in and say, okay, McDaniel, you're gone. Any top GM candidate is not going to want McDaniel or Tua as their quarterback. Period. That's my opinion. Period. It's the process we're differing on, Jason, I think, right? It's just the process.
Like I said, I don't care if there is a new head coach. I think you want to give the GM an opportunity to. Number one, I do think this is an attractive job. That's number one. I do think this is an attractive job for a GM who wants to establish themselves and has the gumption to say, I'm going to be the person to change this around. It will be however.
And an owner winning.
And and an owner with has money. Exactly. So you know what, George? If they fire McDaniel, terrific. And they bring in whoever the new GM is, that's fine. To me, though, I would not be shocked if, McDaniel does stick around for one more year because there are decent things that he does. I don't like the full body of work that he does. I know that there is some ineptitude there, but it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't matter.
Uh-oh.
What do we got?
I'm out.
Go ahead,
Sammy.
Go ahead, Sammy.
Sammy, I came for you, buddy. I love you.
No, don't say that.
Be careful, Stanton. Be careful.
For Goat Dolphins and Kadeem out there. What's up?
He's a PG show.
We're very happy with the win. We did take a little bit of a skew off the highway. We did go a little bit off the recap. We're talking a little future here. We're happy with the win.
We know that, but what is it a game recap? 2, 3, and 7 teams that look like each other. One made a mistake, but more at the end than the other.
George not happy with the win.
No, guys, I want to make this point. Because people might think, oh, I love this team. Like you guys, I've been so many years. It's what these wins are going to mean. Because Ross is looking for every excuse to bring Mike back. Every excuse. And it just means these wins that are a field goal miss or a punt, these kind of 50-50 against a bad team, winning against the Bills, blowing them out, that's fun. It's just Mike's trying everything. I mean, Ross is trying everything he can to bring him back. And this is just, I can see it now. They win 8 games and they bring him back. So go ahead.
So George, to your point, look, if the GM, if we're going to miss out on the GM because you're going to have McDaniel forced upon them, I think that's a huge mistake. And that's why I think Black Monday, he's out of here. Look, he's got 2 things going against him. Number one, after today's win, he's 32-30. 4 years, he's just about 500. Okay. Now, he did have a very innovative offense in 2022, but that got us nowhere. Okay. And then on top of that, he's a very acquired personality. While I'm a very big critic of his, I love what he did at the elbow room the other day, that drive-by. But that's not for everybody. And so, no, when you haven't proven that you could win in this league in your 4th year, and then you have that extra pizzazz to you that comes with his personality, it's a double-edged sword that I do not believe a GM that's coming in to win is going to accept. So that's my take.
Evan, blow this thing up, and please have my back on this.
I love you guys.
Please.
I love you all. Sammy, let's go. Sammy, don't ignore me, Sammy. Sammy, we had a wonderful pregame show this morning, and you and I both called in our predictions that this was going to be a very tight football game. There was no guarantee that we wouldn't have been surprised if they lost. They actually played a lot worse than I actually remember. I'm Mr. Negative, so they actually played worse than I ever anticipated them playing. I seem to have forgotten when the game started. I watched the first half. I go, maybe they thought it was a soccer game. They weren't supposed to score touchdowns. They were only supposed to kick the ball. Because that's what I could not believe. Like how poor they started. And they got the ball. And you saw in the first half, like, George, Jason, how many games have we watched where they waste a timeout? They waste
pretty much every one.
Every single game. And then
every game.
We're 4th and 1. Maybe the plan was not to go for it, but they look completely confused at the line of scrimmage. Achane was overused and was going to get himself hurt. I don't know if he ended up getting hurt near the end, but I know that there was Ollie Gordon did his job. But the way the momentum was going is the defense looked exhausted. They were on the field for an exorbitant amount of time. Weaver did not look good as a coordinator. I'm sure Kadeem, who was at the game, Kadeem, it's great to see you. I know you and I like to go at it. It's a lot of fun. They looked. It
You were at
was
the game,
exhausting
Kadeem?
to watch how long the drives were. The amount of time, I'm sure Kadeem, you were there. The 3rd and 9 on the 3-yard line, to be able to get that play as a first down is totally unacceptable from the defense. But the defense wasn't the problem today. Mike McDaniel took the ball away from Tua. Like at one point, I don't trust Tua with the football. Tua looks completely immobile. He looks like he's in a wheelchair. He can't get outside the pocket. And then to go for it on 4th and to go for it where they did, to try to go for it in the press conference, McDaniel says, "Oh, I wouldn't have gone for it had it not worked." I go, it would almost look like he was fighting for his job there. Like, what were you trying to prove there? Give the ball back to your defense. Your defense gave you only allowed 13 points. They had bad plays with Mariota on the play where he got 40 yards. I don't know how the guy actually pulled that off on a 3rd down. There were so many instances where the Dolphins should dominate this football game. It's great that they won, but like George, you're saying, the narrative of what today is it wasn't a good loss. Like, we're watching the NFL lately, how people are going after the Packers with the fact that they could not score. The Eagles couldn't score. There was the game with the Broncos against the Raiders. The score is so low right now. You have to get the points when you can get them, and to give up 3 points, to not take a lead, and it was only because, also, by the way, that last drive, maybe could even go more, the way that they played that last drive, to run the ball, the Washington near there, and to leave it for a 56-yard field goal for Gay, who was struggling as a kicker to begin with. What I learned from today's game is that Mike McDaniel looked good this week. He almost he built a lot of credence with the Dolphin fans for a little bit, and so did Tua, even with the 2 poor interceptions, because they beat the Bills. We had our Super Bowl. But to go do what they did on the world stage, and by the way, me and Sammy talked about it, the way that Dolphins travel, the way Kadeem is going, the way we all support Lou, you do it, Sammy, you do it, Jason, you and I travel down to Miami. What we all do for this football team to travel, and the amount of fans that were there and supporting in the line for Dan Marino and all that, in the rain and all that, to show up and play the game that they played today. I'm happy to hear that Rappaport's reporting that McDaniel and Tua are tied, because you need a full cleanse. You can't come back with these. If you're going to come back with these 2. We're going to suffer through 2026. But things aren't going to get better with this combination, because you just did this again. It's Jekyll and Hyde. First you beat the Falcons, then you lose to the Ravens, then you kill the Bills. That they like, honestly, and it sounds awful to say, but I said it just before I got on to a buddy of mine. Now I'm looking back at the Bills game. Did the Bills crack the bed and look past the Dolphins? Or did the Dolphins actually dominate that football game? Because besides Devon Achane and Jordan Brooks had 20 tackles today. 20 tackles. That just tells you, by the way, a linebacker should not be getting 20 tackles in a football game, mind you. This football team is so discombobulated, so confused. They can't figure out what's up or down, left or right, north, south. It's just laughable to me.
Yeah.
Like and by the way, Jalen Waddle did not have a good game. He had 3 receptions for 7 targets. He dropped the ball. He had 2 catches he should have caught, guaranteed.
Body
team is Devon Achane and Jordan Brooks. And Jack Jones, good for him. By the way, good for him, because that wasn't the PI. That was probably one of the worst PI calls in the history of football.
Horrible call.
That was awful. I saw, Jason, you were tweeting about it. But George, you're 100% right. People are writing to me that who are not fans, who are on our network. This guy, Josh Wingate, who was one of the most boneheaded calls on Mike McDaniel's part to go for it where he did, the way the team was playing, just get the points and get out of Dodge. The way the Commanders lost this game. The Dolphins won, but the Commanders also lost. Like, I want Kadeem to have a chance to go, but overall, great. They won. We want them to win. I'm happy they win. I'm smiling that they won. But it doesn't change the narrative that you bet on Black Monday. They better. And by the way, I don't know if you guys want to go. If they lost this football game as a result of this, they should leave McDaniel and Weaver. They should leave McDaniel in Spain, because to lose a game that way, to go for it the way you did, is unacceptable in many ways. Happy with the win. They're 4-7. They're going to come back, get a week off. The narrative will be, we're all going to criticize the team on how they lost. Oh, they're going to come back, beat New Orleans. They're going to be 6-7. They're going to beat the Jets. Everything will be great. But it doesn't change the narrative that today, what me and Sammy said on the pregame show was that we would not be surprised if they lost. The problem is that they almost like they want to give the game away. The Dolphins looked like they did not have an interest in winning this football game, because they were doing the same bullheaded things they were doing before beating the Bills and playing the Falcons. They were playing Dolphins football.
Evan, it looked like 2, 3, and 17. That's what it looked like. That's simple as that.
Yeah, but the difference is this we didn't think about it. This was a game. Mike Weaver's defense was primed for Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel and Rodriguez and that group, Zach Ertz, they left so much space for these guys. These guys were wide open. Like, they were wide open. There was no coverage on these guys today.
I want to get to Gadim, but I want to say that you brought up a good point, Evan. Now, that's the other point I forgot about that report by Rappaport, that they're tied together, Mike. So if Mike goes, they eat the money. What I've been saying all along I would do. So that was the most important part. Sammy, did you? That was something new that I didn't know. I didn't know if they keep me. One could go, one could not. I don't know that. You know what I mean? That tells me if they get rid of Mike, they're going to eat the money on Tua. That's interesting to me. Then, Jason, then you get out. Then you can go to Philadelphia and go for that GM because now you have the blank canvas. Kadeem, what's up, brother? Were you at the game?
Was I at the game? Of course I was.
Okay. I didn't know if you were. Thank you for hopping on. How was it? How was the atmosphere and your thoughts on the game?
The way you guys are talking, I feel like I watched a complete different outcome to all of you. Like, listen, it wasn't the most exciting game, but we won. Like, all the doom and gloom. It's a 2-hour plane journey for me, and I've spent the last 3 days in the rain. But no, it was a fun game. There was a few things which I'm not sure if the TV broadcast mentioned. So in the back of the end zone, there was no play clock. So that first time out the Dolphins took, I reckon Tua legit didn't know how long he had left because he couldn't tell, we couldn't tell. But no, it was fun. It's been fun. It's been enjoyable. And I got to see you win, so can't complain.
I think that's like if you're traveling to the game, it's a whole different vibe. I think that's two different things. Us looking at it from zoomed out lenses from our homes, and you being in the game, inside of it, the historic stadium in Spain. You know what I mean, Madrid. So I get where you're coming from, but I saw a 16-13 win of two mediocre teams, and one building the narrative, keep the coach. Another tick to build the narrative, keep the coach. That's all I see.
Hold on. So we're Dolphin fans, right?
Yes.
And we saw a win today, right?
Yes.
Cool. End of. Like, and again, we are no.
To me, that's a lazy argument.
I know what Kadeem is saying here.
I put too much time doing these damn shows to just go on that. It's a
lot
more complex for me.
I'm sorry, Kadeem. Here. Going into a bye week to get a win, to get your first back-to-back wins of the year, and to create a little tiny bit of hope does not mean that Mike McDaniel is guaranteed a job next year. What that means is we could enjoy another win, which at this point, I think that's what matters. So for the people that especially 2-hour flights, great. There are people who took 12-hour flights. There are people who took three flights. So from that standpoint, it was a win for a win. And it's not guaranteed.
What did you take out of that win, Jason?
I took a win. What did I take? I took a win. Was it pretty? No. Could they have lost? Yes. Would I have loved other things to have happened? Yes. But they have won games in our lives.
In sports, winning is not the most important thing all the time. And success.
At the end of the day,
it's the only thing.
In 3 weeks, yes, you're going to look back at this game. In 3 weeks, you're going to look back at this game, and the only thing mattered was a W. That's the only thing that is going to matter.
Getting where you want to get to, the process to getting where you want to get to, wins are not the most important thing.
There's a lot of in this game, in an international game, which the Dolphins have not fared well in, which there are intangibles. This was a home game, right? No, it wasn't a home game because there were more were there more Commanders fans there?
Yes,
they would. It was weird.
Sounded like
they beat the Commanders.
They were louder.
We're talking about national. I know I'm being negative, but we're talking about national stage. Did they beat the Commanders 35-13, or am I missing something?
No, it doesn't matter.
It's a boring game.
But you know what? I'll tell you what. Earlier, I think Evan said it. They kicked the shit out of the Bills, but now someone is saying, "Well, did the Bills lose?" I'm not saying you're wrong, but they won the game. Like, it goes back to Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. I don't care.
I like the Bills.
You won the game.
My thoughts on the end result and the process is the same. I am telling you.
Let me.
Go ahead.
Short-term memory, rinse and repeat. Forget it. Not rinse and repeat. Forget it. Short-term memory. A win or a loss, erase it onto next week. In this particular case, you're onto a bye week. Phenomenal.
What's the ultimate goal here?
What's to win football games. It's to win football games.
Guys,
the ultimate goal is to win football games, and that's what they did today. Is they won the football game.
Yeah, sorry guys, I've been to 4 international games, 6 Miami games in total, 2 in Miami. This is the first international game I've seen us win. I've seen us lose 20-0 to the Saints. I saw a walk-off field goal against the Jags. I saw
Brian Flores lost that football game. Brian Flores lost that football game.
I saw the loss in Germany against the Chiefs. So yeah, my perspective is I've traveled, I've met new people, I've caught up with friends, and I saw a win. The guy I was sitting next to was a Bengals fan from Spain, and he was like, as the game kicked off, he had like literal goosebumps. And listen, he even by the end, he was like, "I'm glad you guys won." I totally understand if you guys woke up early, or doing what we do, you want to see a more convincing win. I 100% get that. But sometimes, given how many one-score games we've lost this year, I'm choosing to take it as I'm going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to love you guys and leave you. I'm going to get so drunk that I miss my flight tomorrow. And yeah, but like I said, I get it. It was an ugly win. McDaniel nearly threw that game away. It was like when we went for it on 4th down and missed it, I felt physically sick. I was like, great. I've traveled to see this team lose. And when they won, I was like, you know what? It's worth it. All the money. Yeah. So, but again, I understand where you're coming from, because it was stinky. It was horrible. And a better team makes it a more convincing win. But as we've said, 2 wins in a row into the bye week. Like I said, I'm going to get.
I want to ask Kadeem one question. It's an important question, and I'm not saying this in jest. Kadeem, I love your positivity. I've been there before. What's the end goal? What is the end goal for the Miami Dolphins? Why do we all cheer for this team? What do we want more than anything?
That's my point. I was trying to say, what's the Super Bowl?
What do we want more than anything? We want them not just to win regular season games. We want them to win enough to make the playoffs. We played today a game where Tua Tagovailoa had 25 less passing yards than we had rushing yards. They were afraid to give him the ball anymore. But the problem is, and I don't know if you saw the report because you were at the game, that now Mike McDaniel, if he's back, he has Tua again. No one in their right mind could actually consciously say, convincingly on this network, and I want them to win, can say with a straight face that we are going to win football games in 2026 with Mike McDaniel, Tua Tagovailoa as the base of this, because what they showed today was that Tua can't move. They need Achane more than anything. Waddle's inconsistent. So they have to make a major group of changes next season, and they don't have the ability to do so. So I agree with you. I'm happy they won. Thank God they won, because I can only imagine the anger we all would have had if they lost. And I think we are happy that they won, but it's the fact that they played so well last week, and people wanted this team to actually go on a trajectory that they could potentially look at a team that could win 4 or 5 in a row. The team that played today basically lost because the Washington Commanders couldn't hit a 56-yarder, and we tried to give the game away with the ball on the 1-yard line. So that's the frustration I think all of us are having, who are more negative, what you think is coming off as more negative, is the fact that Mike McDaniel continues to do things. When he has house money, he goes all in. The man is playing for his job, and instead of giving his chance to the defense to only give up 13 points against Marcus Mariota, let your defense do their job. No, I need to go get 7 points. I was looking at the clock.
Can I just?
It was a very stupid decision.
So what you're trying to say, he's trying to ask you, before you let us go and you enjoy your very well-deserved victory celebration drink, do you want McDaniel and Tua back next year?
Yeah, like that. Yeah, if you know me, yeah. But very quickly, it's something you said that the Dolphins were afraid to give Tua the ball today. I saw it as the Dolphins were running the ball really well. So until the Commanders can stop it, why stop it? Again, I'm not saying Tua played well.
I think run the ball more. I agree with you on that, Kadeem. I think I'm in favor of that.
It's funny how we have a ground game today that worked, and the narrative is, well, we were scared to give Tua the ball, and we won, and we're treating it like a loss. Like, again,
What's
I get it.
Formula? What's the ceiling of this formula?
I will take.
Can I answer that? I'll answer that.
Ooh, Sonny, it's gonna be going.
Sonny,
I know when Sonny gets hot.
I'm going to get blackout drunk. Guys,
Hey, not by yourself, I hope. Not by yourself. Not by yourself.
Here's what I think you won mostly. They won, but you won in the experience. I think that's when none of us are going through that experience of going to the game, being in that atmosphere. And I'm happy for you, man. And please check out the Go Diamond Dolphins podcast. You and Charlie, you guys do a great job. And I appreciate you coming on, man. And I'm glad that you had this kind of, I can imagine if I was there, maybe I'd have a different perspective as well. Maybe all of us, maybe even Evan and I would have.
I know, I'd probably get deported.
Yeah.
I probably would have been deported from Spain because
we need to deport you to Puerto Rico.
You don't. I tell people I can't go into a stadium with Mike McDaniel inside of it because I might jump the barricade on that 4th and 1 play. I would have lost my bloody mind on this man. I would have been on the field, attacked by the police. I would have been destroyed.
All right, Kadeem, go get drunk. Have a good time.
Enjoy the victory, Kadeem.
I would have been deported.
Oh yeah.
I want 2 minutes with. I want 2 minutes without George or Evan interrupting me. And give me a minute without you guys interrupting.
I love you, Sam.
Because you cannot give me 10 seconds, George.
I love you, Sam.
Come on. Okay, I heard the phrase a couple of times. What does this win gives us? I'm gonna give you the list of the last 10 years of the team with the losest records. The team that lost the most last 10 years. The Jets, the Giants, the Jaguars, the Browns, the Panthers, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Raiders, the Commanders, and the Falcons. Where did all those losses take them? It doesn't take you anywhere to lose. Anywhere.
You get a shot.
No, it doesn't get you anywhere. It hasn't gotten anywhere.
You're talking about organizations that are not run well. Those are all organizations that are not run well.
So are we. We are not.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Ask for a minute. I ask for a minute.
What's the difference?
Come on, George.
What's the difference between the Dolphins and those teams? What have each accomplished? Same thing. Nothing. Go ahead. Finish.
Oh, you made me lose my friend.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it doesn't matter now. It doesn't matter now.
To play off of what you asked, George, what this accomplishes, you have to build on things. Now, if the Dolphins happen to build with 30-plus rushes, which is the formula, you know what it might do in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks? When there's more film on what they're doing, it will set up other things. Like a boxing match, you're doing a certain jab or a certain combo, and then when a boxer thinks it's coming again, boom, knockout punch. So when the Dolphins could hopefully put together, take Tua out of the equation for a second. And if you're establishing the run, and if teams are saying, all right, well, now Gordon is becoming a thunder to Achan's lightning, and they're rushing 30-plus times for 5+ yards per carry, and then on one beautiful 3rd and 2, there's a play action, you hit Waddle wide open down. There's a play action, and you hit Malik on a crossing route, let him do the work. So this is all building, if they do it properly, to one day, one play, one game, hit a couple of times, because now they're establishing that identity. They're not doing it every other week. They haven't ran off 3 or 4 games in a row where they're grounding and pounding. They haven't played many complete games where they're grounding and pounding and the defense is playing perfectly. But if you consistently do one of those things and then everything else comes together, that's when things will open up. And I think that's what they need to do. Look, you lost Tyreek Hill a couple of weeks ago. So you really should be a run-first team. You got Jalen Waddle, and really, for my money, that's it downfield. You got a nice player in Malik Washington who they decide to use primarily behind the line of scrimmage. Today, they found him downfield a couple of times. That worked. You got tight ends who aren't necessarily George Kittle. or Trey McBride or Brock Bowers. You don't got them. We love Greg Dulcich. He's a 2-catch-a-game guy. We don't love Julian Hill, but he's a blocker who maybe will make a catch. So you need formula-wise to run the ball and play good defense and pick your spots. Who said Tua is a game manager? He is a game manager. I don't want him throwing 40 times. I don't want him throwing 30 times. I would like him to be a game manager where when he needs to throw, he does his job well. Or when the defense thinks that they're going to run the ball up the middle on 4th and inches because they have the last 7 times and converted 4 or 5 of them, that's when you do a boot and you find a guy who no one expects to catch a touchdown pass in the red zone. They won the game today. Are all football wins pretty? Absolutely not. Absolutely freaking not. But do you build and can you build on a situation like this? We'll find out after the bye week. And it just happens to come against 2 piss-poor teams. So now, against those 2 teams, if you can't win handily, I might be on to what you're saying. But if you could continue to build off of that type of a formula, running the ball, 9, 10, 11 carries from Ollie Gordon, 20-some-odd plus touches from Achane, where he's getting 160 scrimmage yards. I know that's not sustainable every game, but if he's at that 90-plus 110 area in total scrimmage yards, he's one of the best in the business statistically. And you have Gordon. Let's see a little bit more of Jalen Wright. Let's see the defense kind of come together. You're playing without, a fully healthy Bradley Chubb, a fully healthy Chop Robinson. You were down Razul Douglas, okay? And this is a weakish defense kind of to begin with, who is starting to come a little bit more together. So if, again, you control the clock by running the ball. We're not 2023 where it was fun to score in 3 plays. We're not that team. You absolutely have to control the time of possession and utilize your runners instead of saying, Tua is the guy that's going to bring us back like Dan Marino every time. Not even freaking close. He's not even the type of player like Drake May who could improvise and just consistently throw for 250 yards and run the ball when he needs to. You need your running backs to be the MVPs of this team. Tua is not the MVP of this team. He might be the MIP, most important person on this team, but you are not going to go far unless your running attack in this team is doing well, in my opinion.
I guess I look, and I agree with all that. I think it will open up. I think when you put stuff on film, there's always a counter. You see what the Tyreek gravity not there, the gravity pool that Tyreek always created is gone. Teams are already playing the Dolphins different. But I guess I'm thinking more forward. I don't see the future of this team the way it's set up with Tua, Malik Washington, this kind of setup, play action. This type of offensive line still needs to be improved. I just don't see, it's nice, but when we get to where we want to go, I'm kind of like Evan. It's maybe I'm too forward thinking. Maybe I'm looking beyond too much, and I could be. And I should be a little more be happy with the victory and then think more short term. But I just don't think what you're saying sounds great, Jason. But if that's what we're going into, head into the offseason next year, then we're still in the same spot. I guess that's why I'm looking. You're looking more short-sighted. I'm looking more long-term. Go ahead.
So no, but to add to it, I understand what everybody is saying, but remember this: we're now a run-first team. No team in their right mind should be offering a quarterback a contract of $53 million on average per year to be your quarterback, for him to be the secondary option of your team. When you are the leader of your team and you're getting paid the money, whether you're Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, all these guys, not even Baker Mayfield, not even Sam Darnold, who they're making in the 30s. These are guys who have had to prove themselves and go other spots. Tua got it, and he had one good year. So for Mike McDaniel, I'm happy to hear even though it might be lip service, what Ian Rappaport reported, because to me, Tua is tied to McDaniel, because Mike McDaniel, if he has as much sway what Stephen Ross is Stephen Ross wants Mike McDaniel to succeed, wants him to be the guy. If Mike McDaniel would have told him after 2 seasons, I don't believe Tua's ready to be our franchise quarterback. I want to see one more year on the franchise option. No one can convince me otherwise that Mike McDaniel wouldn't have had that opportunity. Mike McDaniel is the one who okayed this. There's no way Chris Greer and Stephen Ross and Tom Garfinkel unilaterally, without Mike McDaniel, made the decision for Mike McDaniel who his quarterback's going to be for the next 5 seasons. There's no way, unless Mike McDaniel is too much of a chicken to stand up for himself. And if he is that big of a chicken, then fire him now. So for me, all this happened today. It's everything we've been saying for so long. Sammy said, Sammy, aren't you impressed though I stayed quiet the entire time? You must give me kudos for that. Aren't you impressed?
Because I'm the host of the show.
I know.
He doesn't allow to do it anyway. He talks more than you do, so you know.
No,
be able
remember,
to anyway.
Sammy, you said something very clearly. You and I had a similar memory a couple of years about something.
Yes.
That where were we when this happened? When certain moments happened in Dolphins history. You and I know where we were when Trent Sherfield caught that pass against Kyle Shanahan, and we thought we were ready to go. Then from that moment on, they lost 5 in a row, and it was finished. Right? So this has been, for me, my microcosm. That was the moment into the Chargers game where I lost all respect to Mike McDaniel, saying, this guy doesn't have a clue. Because today he took chances again that made absolutely no sense. The quarterback was not working for you today. The defense was on the field for way too long, giving up big chunk plays.
Yes.
I agree with. I got ripped, George, in year 1 by Bobby. Oh, he's a rookie head coach. Take it one game at a time. But we're now exactly where I said we were going to be 3 years ago. We're no further ahead than we were 3 years ago. The only benefit we have from 3 years ago is we have Devon Achane. The problem is Devon Achane is so overused, he's going to get hurt. You could see even today that he was laboring. And by the way, the guy was phenomenal today. But the team is made up of 53 players. You can't win with one player, and you can't win with last-minute chunk plays. It's not against this team. This is a team that didn't have their number 1 quarterback and their number 1 wide receiver and their number 1 D lineman. We had our number 1 D lineman who's having a mediocre season as a captain in Zach Sealer. We had our so-called 1A, 1B wide receiver in Jalen Waddle, who's the top 5 receiver the last 6 weeks. We had a number 1 running back, and we had our number 1 quarterback. And we only lost because the Commanders crapped the bed on the last drive. Because they were doing weird things to leave it for 56 yards. So for me, I understand because we know, George, because we know what the inevitable is. If they come back next year, nothing is going to change. It's going to be Champ Kelly. It's going to be Mike McDaniel. It's going to be Tua. And we've read this book that we've done this again. It's rinse and repeat. Because for me, I honestly prefer that we are facing the Buccaneers. Aaron Stanford, what the heck is he talking about? I don't
know. Let me interrupt you for a second. Bobby Pitts talked to the chat. What's up, Bobby?
Wow.
I would watch if you're going to ask me if they're going to keep McDaniel and Tua and Champ Kelly for next year and give it a go before you can get off the books and give it one more shot, I'd much rather them do that than hire a new GM that starts the clock already.
Oh yeah,
on a waste year. I much rather than do that, even though I know where the result will be. I prefer that stance more than anything else. Bob, you're always welcome to come on. All right, so we're speaking to Coach McDaniel. We have to show our clip. You mentioned it when I read it, I was like, did he really say that?
Yes.
Of kind of McDaniel talking about. Let me get it up here first. McDaniel talking about him. Finish your thought, Evan. While I live forward here, I hadn't pulled up.
No, I. By the way, I'm doing it to piss off Bobby. Yes, he was a rookie head coach, but I knew what was going to happen because I was less worried about Tua. But Mike McDaniel's only proven to me that he is out. Sammy, what did you say on the pregame? Mike McDaniel is going to outsmart himself, and Mike McDaniel gets away from what's right in front of him. What is the obvious take? What's the easiest thing to do? What is the straight line? No, let me go veer right because I think I can beat the other person at the other corner. because that's what he does. He takes off-road. He goes off-roading versus taking the straight, smooth road because he thinks it's the cool thing to do. The problem is it's no longer funny. If we were winning consistently, it was no longer funny. The problem is that the moment that they fell behind and it was 6-6 and then they gave up the touchdown 13-6, we knew it was going to be tough sledding. I was happy when we won. I'm happy we won. It's great, phenomenal. But all it does for, I think, a lot of people, which is hard, is that it's only leaning more and more towards Tua and McDaniel coming back. And I think for people like George and people like me, Sammy, Lou, who's a very dedicated fan who goes to so many games, and Jason, how many coaches get the opportunity to come back for a fifth season with the quarterback without winning a playoff game? Name me another NFL team where a head coach gets 5 attempts to get to the next round without winning a playoff game. Name me a coach in the NFL that gets 5 years.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like, I mean, again, wanting to win a football game so your team wins a football game is not the same thing as saying them winning solidifies and makes me happy that this coach is going to stay. Like, it doesn't. Like, right now, if someone puts a gun to my head and says, are the Dolphins going to win a playoff game this year? I'm going to, yeah, unfortunately, no. I realize that. And if that happens, I agree with you. You shouldn't retain a guy to maybe get a first playoff win in his 5th year. I agree with you. I don't. For example, if he continues these same mistakes, even in wins, poor clock management, odd play calling down and distance and time of game, not coming out well adjusted in the third half, if it was my decision, I'd find a better candidate. You're right. So if they win 4, 5, 6 games in a row, if they happen to make the playoffs and they lose, sure, you could fire him and I'm not going to cry about it. Now, hypothetically, am I closing the book on potentially him getting more wins, building on and learning, and then maybe in the 5th year it can come all together? Maybe. But I want this team to now win. I think the tank is over. There's no tank.
Yeah,
I want wins now.
I think we're differentiating, separating as a fan, just as a Sunday afternoon. It's a win's a win. It's nice. And then maybe I'm somebody like, because look, I'm honest with the people who do this show. I want you to know, who watch this show and follow the Fins Faithfuls, that I'm always going to be honest and tell you how I feel, whether you like it or not, because that's what you're going to get through the in-season, the off-season, the on-season, Jason, all the seasons. Hey. I'm gonna be truthfully and honest, and that's how I am. This is how I feel live, instant reaction after a win. This is how I feel. I'm gonna give it to you, and this is based on 30 years of loving this team. This is based on me passionately following this team like you guys. This is how I feel. I'm just looking more, what did I say? The muddling and mediocrity. We're stepping in the mud. We just keep stepping in it. This game just kind of brought that feeling. I don't know if it's because I was sick and I'm on all this medicine. Maybe that's why I'm a little more angry, but it just brought that feeling. The Bills game didn't bring that feeling because it was like, wow, we beat the Bills. And did I know that was probably going to hurt us long term? Probably. But that game versus that team, I'm all in. This game, it just kind of brought this feeling. Go ahead, Lou. Sorry, you've been quiet.
No, sorry. Just what Finstanza said about imagine going into year 5 and still looking for that first playoff game. And ironically enough, his best chance came in year 1. With at that point, his 3rd-string quarterback in Skylar Thompson at Buffalo. And if you recall, because I can't get this out of my head, he had 2 chances to win that game. They were up and they should have won it.
Yeah.
They had a 3rd and 19 out of their own end zone, and he chose to throw with Skylar Thompson, which resulted in a pick and the Bills getting directly back in that game. And even after all that, they had the ball, final game-winning drive, 4th and 1 became 4th and 6 because they couldn't get a playoff. And here we are. You could write that off. Year 1 is rookie head coach, wasn't prepared, but it still happened here in year 4. And that's why I think you can't let it go much further, because I don't see anything that he's done that would show me that he's improved and could win these big games, specifically a playoff game.
Yeah,
comes down to his calls to win the game.
I want to answer Costa said, so you're all mad because we're not losing more. No, Costa has been a huge supporter of this show. We love you and appreciate it. It's not about them winning or losing more. It's about we want change. I want change, full change. It started with Greer. And anything that's going to hinder, because this year they're not winning a playoff game. This is not a great football team. They're not winning. We got to do all these shows, and there'll be storylines for every episode and every show and every game. That has nothing to do with it. The more things that happen like this against teams, like Evan said it best, we beat Buffalo on a 35, whatever the score was. We came back to reality. We're just like the Redskins. The Redskins are bad. I mean, they're bad. And a 46-yard field goal goes a little bit more towards the left. What are we talking about today? We're having a different conversation. Nobody's talking about we're smiling. Oh, because we won. We're not having that conversation. It's I want change. And I don't trust the owner of this team. Maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. Maybe he is fed up. And he wants to keep Mike the rest of the season. Who knows why? Maybe. But based on history, I don't trust this owner. I think, again, I don't know if you guys agree. I think he wants, in his deep down, he wants Mike McDaniel to coach this football team. And I want change for the better of this franchise. So it's not about them winning or losing. It's about what's going to cause change.
Let me add to that point. If the Dolphins won today, like I want to say to Costa, and I think everyone will agree here, if they would have gone out today and played the way they played against the Bills or against the Falcons, which was a recipe that worked, and Mike McDaniel wins that football game, then they go into New Orleans, a team comes in like New Orleans, and they win that game in an efficient fashion against a mediocre football team that is trying to not win. Then they go into New York against a team that has 5 first-round picks over that year and win that game convincingly. You're going to get people like myself and George saying Mike McDaniel is learning how to use his football team in the most efficient way possible, that Tua is a game manager. I need to get the ball to my best playmakers. The defense has to stop playing so laid-back defense. And we can go another year and say, Mike McDaniel, come back with Tua, get key people in the draft. And I want to take the Costa. We've said this last week. I said it on Fit Faithful, and I said it on the FTSN. It doesn't matter. And George is the key to this. It doesn't matter where you pick it, who you pick. Because if we had Tyler Warren this year, not Kenneth Grant, we'd be a better football team. We would be a much better football team had we taken the player that was the better player versus the player for need. That's my issue. I said to Sammy today, Mike McDaniel, best press conference he's ever had in his life. Tua, best press conference he had this week. They sounded great. They actually were dribbling the narrative. They weren't fumbling. They came to the football game. Tua and Mike McDaniel were the Tua and Mike McDaniel that played against the Ravens and that played against the Colts and played against the Bills, against Carolina. That's what our problem is. The problem is that these wins against Buffalo and Atlanta are basically covering the fact that this team is very deficient, and you can't keep on changing all the players. The most consistent player on this football team outside of Tua and Waddle is Mike McDaniel. If you really think about this football team, Zach Sealer was not on this football team. Outside of the people they truly drafted who have been here longer than Mike McDaniel, you have a player who has been inconsistent today in Jalen Waddle, and you have Tua. Everyone else is new to the game. I don't consider Austin Jackson whatever. I'm talking about high-level talent. Mike McDaniel has been here a long time, longer than the previous 2 coaches, and 3 previous coaches, actually. So that's where our rope is. That's why we're getting frustrated. I'm happy they won, but all it's doing for me is basically saying, without Achane, Mike McDaniel is fired already, because he's literally using Achane to be a million so much. That's not how you win football games sustainably. And by the way, and I had this conversation with the guys who I do the Vince Talk Overtime with. If with a Devon Achane getting 100 and how many yards did he get today? 170 yards between receiving and passing, and you only scored 16 points. You only got 1 touchdown, and you got that much running attack from your guy.
That was weird, though. They're usually pretty good.
That's pathetic. By the way, that's pathetic.
You know what this was? This was you're on death row, but you just had a really good steak meal. Like the end was on it.
You literally
you're going to the chair, man.
Field goals and 1 touchdown with that rushing attack.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not a winning recipe, which means you need a good amount of balance of passing and play action. The problem is that you're running so well that it should be a breeze for Tua to use play action to get the ball to his best receivers. Did you see the miscommunication with him and the tight end Duchlich on the open? He was open for miles.
He's pretty
completely
good.
run the wrong route. Completely ran the wrong route. That's my problem. My problem is that to score 16 points against the Commanders when HN runs his ass off because Tua can't distribute the ball properly.
Let me play
That's
this.
a serious problem.
Let me play this Mike McDaniel clip here, and we'll head out of here pretty soon.
Thought, you don't make that decision unless I thought the play was going to work. It didn't. But looking at it was about 147 or something with no timeouts, a field goal, give them the ball back. Their special teams is very adept at getting the ball between the 30 and 40, which would leave about 25 yards for a tying field goal, as opposed to going 60 yards when they're backed up. And so those are the type of situations that you try to do the best thing with the recourse of failure. And that was an example of defense stepping up. They held when it was most critical. Well, I definitely.
He doesn't believe in Jake Bailey? He doesn't believe in Jake Bailey? Give me a break. Jake Bailey has been one of the top 2 punters in the NFL. You don't trust him if you get a field goal. Sorry, the kickoff. Sorry, you don't trust the fact that.
Is anybody in agreement? I didn't hate. I wasn't minding going for the definite win, like having them have a score to touch. I didn't hate them not doing the field. I don't know why. That was my impression, right? Does anybody agree or disagree with me here? With that, Does anybody agree with going for it? Jason, Sammy, or Lou? Nobody? Am I the only one who's okay with it? I guess.
Because this team, when has this team proven to you, George? Ever?
I know, but I like the aggressive.
I think the last time this team has proven to you that they are good in short yardage clutch.
They're good in the red zone. They're good in the red zone.
Not in the rushing attack. Not in the rushing attack. Because if they would have had a quarterback who can actually is nimble enough to actually push the pile and actually move.
So I'm the only one.
You went out with Ollie Gordon. The problem
I'm the only one. Jason?
They all knew.
George, it's not a matter of being the only one or getting on.
No, I'm asking you.
Do
you agree? Were you in favor of him going for it, or in favor of him going for it? Or you would have kicked the field goal.
If I would have kicked the field goal and gone to my coordinator and said, "We got the lead. Take us home." That's what I would have done. Maybe that's an old school mindset, but that's what I would have done.
No, you're in the majority.
Because if Matt Gay hits that long field goal, good night, nurse. So you're giving a team here it is, real quick, 30 seconds. I would have kicked the field. It's one of two things. We have a lead, tell the defense to win it. Or shit. Now all they need is 3 points to win it. And they had the opportunity to do that, and we got lucky that it went wide right. I would have put it on the defense and said, offense did its job, you do yours.
You're 3-7. George, you're 3-7.
George, let me add to this.
Go for it.
Talk about talking out of both sides of his mouth, Mike McDaniel. And I want Lou to answer this, and I want Sammy to listen to this. He didn't trust his defense and his kicker, Riley Patterson, to hold the Commanders from scoring a touchdown. But he trusted his defense in overtime to stop the Commanders from getting a touchdown that would have ended the game to start overtime. So wait, you don't trust your defense to get a stop to only leave it to a field goal to go to overtime anyways, but you trust your defense to get a stop, which lo and behold, what did they do? Jack Jones got the interception. So how can you both possibly say with a straight face, Mike McDaniel, that you don't trust your defense to hold the team from getting a field goal?
I don't think he didn't trust the defense.
But then in overtime, you're giving the ball the Commanders the ability to go down the field and score a touchdown. The game's over anyways. So how do you rationalize that, Mike McDaniel? How do you not trust your defense in the last minute of the game, but you trust your defense at the beginning of overtime? That's asinine.
When I go back and think about it, yes, in the moment, I was like, all right, I like it. You know, I get now when I go back and sit back and digest it and think about it, yeah, probably wasn't the right decision. But in the moment, I was like, yeah, make them score a touchdown because I was pretty much sure they were going to go down there and get a field goal attempt. So let's put it away now. We're 3-7. What do we got to lose? Sammy, you agree with you were for the field goal, right?
Yeah, we'll go for the field goal just for the fact that it didn't make sense. You scored the field goal and then you had to make the outcome didn't matter because they killed the field goal. Yeah. They went back, they missed, and they missed. So at the end, it's a moot point. Basically, it didn't change the outcome, but because at the end of the day, overtime happened no matter what. But I would have kicked the field.
All right, so we head into a bye, fellas. This was a fun show. You know, we had our boxing gloves on. I like it. I love Jason with the hat. Sammy had the hat on for a second. I got to get Lou a hat and Evan.
I'll wear the hat.
We're going to the bye week. You guys go quickly. You guys see 6-7 here. You put your and then I'm going to ask Jason Sarni question at the end. Jason, you're going to ask it. You know the question I'm talking about. 6-7 quickly, yes or no, Lou?
Yeah, I see 6-7, but that Jet game would be a little tough. People say.
Evan.
No, I think the Lou just said the Jets there, the nerves. It's going to be one of those weird ones. That's going to be the heartbreaker. That's going to be like they're going to beat the Saints, but then the Jets are going to give them a problem.
Sammy, 6-7.
Nope, 5-8.
Sarni.
Which game, Sammy? Which game?
The Jets game.
Yeah.
I expect them to beat the Jets and the Saints. If they eke out wins, I will be a little annoyed. I expect them to beat the shit out of at least one of those teams and would be very happy if they dominate them both because I believe that they can. And if they don't, we will cross that bridge when we get there. But they have another full week to prepare for the Saints, which should be a cakewalk. And then they'll have another week to play a team that they have absolutely dominated in the last several years. So again, football is a week-by-week scenario where your goal is to win for the week. It ain't the NBA where you got to win 2-3 games in a week and you got to, have a very short, quick turnaround. They have enough rest and recuperation and preparation to win the next 2 games. And if they don't, you could jump down the throat. I'm not saying that, negatively, because I expect them to win the next 2 games. And if they do at 6-7, I expect them to compete against a tough matchup in the Steelers, where I would love for a bulletin board material to be, you're going to go see 2 guys who wanted out of here in Jalen Ramsey and Jonnu Smith, and you have the ability to embarrass them nationally, get to 500, and maybe turn this into a playoff team. So I'm putting bulletin board material all over Hard Rock in South Florida if I had any say in it, and let's see if they respond.
Did you just say national game? National
Pittsburgh's
game?
a national game.
Yeah, I know, but national game and Dolphins. What happened to national game?
Again, short-term memory.
I know.
I know we love, and I love specifically stats and
you're
trends.
looking at it more short-term, and it's nothing
I
wrong with
agree
that.
with you.
There's nothing wrong with
You
that.
have to. I'm looking week by week.
That's the right approach.
It's the right approach.
I'm looking at it week to week because what happens in December, we're not there yet. There could be 2 entirely different Decembers with what happens during the next 3 weeks going into and then after Thanksgiving. And then we'll get to next year. Right now, they're 4-7 with the ability for 2 soft games to go into a game where they could even up their record. All right? And if we want to get to retrospective thinking, I had this team at 8-9 wins. That was my expectation.
Jason, Jason's trying to get me. Jason wants me to bang my head against something.
I don't want.
He loves it.
No, and I came into this year with the realium, not the hopium. This is what I'm
Pockets of
saying.
hope, Jason. We have pockets of hopium. Remember that.
Sure. If they lost this game, there'd be a different tone coming out of my mouth. It would be closer to yours, but we would have lost the game.
Here's the point I'm going to make. If they win versus the Saints and the Jets, my chance and needle doesn't move much either way. Like, it's not like I'm not jumping down the throat, I'm not praising it. Like, it just doesn't mean much to me in the bigger picture. That's where I'm coming from, and that's where I maybe, as the host of the show, got to tone it back and go more short term. Maybe I have to do that. But you know how I look at things. Sammy knows, Jason, you guys know how I look at things, and it's the way I'm wired, and I'm honest. And the part I like about these live post-game shows is Lou and Jay, you get your real emotion, how you feel. That's what generated out of me, plus all the cold medicine I'm thinking, is that. Man, is that. It's like, man, I want change. This doesn't help change. But again,
give me some NyQuil.
Yeah. No, hey, Alka-Seltzer Plus.
No, he needs some Vicks Vapor Rub.
No. Alka-Seltzer Plus is the go here. All right? Is the go one. Is the number one. Jason, give me a question about a certain movie. Because I don't know if these gentlemen will have these same gentlemen on the panel at the same time before the holidays.
For all the folks out there that know, I don't like to get into arguments on Twitter.
Oh, you love it.
Yes, it is, Jason. The answer is yes.
Who?
Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I'm not even asking the question. I'm dictating, because if there's any smoking gun of why it is a Christmas movie, the writer of the damn thing said it is. There's a director of a movie, there's a studio of a movie, and then there's the person who has the intellectual property and thought of, who am I going to name? What am I going to name? What are my themes? What are my symbolisms? The writer, Stephen E. D'Souza, has said, I've done my homework more than I've ever done actual homework on this.
Check Jason's Twitter.
Right?
Check his X handle and his timeline.
Some things are kind of reaches, right? But when you put everything together, 1 + 2 + 3 + 4 + 5, it all adds up to a writer's general goal with having a Christmas-themed movie. Oh, but Jason, it came out in July. Well, action movies come out in July because they're blockbusters.
Christmas in July.
Yes.
That's right.
But that's why they wanted to do it. Wouldn't it be great if we had a Christmas movie come out in the summer with the general themes of Christmas?
We're gonna have a draft on that.
We're not done with it.
I bet they came out. It came out on VHS on Christmas, because you just said that. Yeah, that would be an argument. Yeah.
I used to love
the writer has flooded this movie with Christmas themes, overtones, visuals, audio references. Go to my Twitter.
Jason, I loved everything you've been putting out. There's even, as per your point you just said, there's even like sleigh bell like carryovers into other scenes. I mean, it's totally a Christmas movie. I don't know who the hell's arguing with you.
One more minute on this, just to put the percentages out. Do you know how many more?
Now you want to do percentages, Sonny.
If you look at Die Hard and how many Christmas songs they have in the movie, it is actually more than a huge percent of actual Christmas movies. So it starts with him whistling Jingle Bells, and then during the credits, he says, "You got any Christmas music?" to a character named Argyle. What kind of sweater do people wear on Christmas? Argyle patterned sweaters. He puts on Christmas in Hollis. And then Bruce Willis's character, John McClane. Oh, wow, John. Isn't John a bit of a biblical Christmassy name? John the Apostle.
And what about his wife? What's
his wife's name is Holly. Come on.
If I want to give one positive, a side note for talking about football.
It's not Jennifer.
It's a Christmas music.
Let's end positive here. Let's end
positive. The Justin Herbert is getting his butt kicked 35-6.
Yeah,
so for all the two in the ears, Justin Herbert's
stretched.
losing to Jacksonville 35-6.
Yeah, it's a stretch.
So anybody disagree? By the way, we're gonna have a Christmas movie draft. We're gonna give you the first pick, Sonny. Let's see how hard you are on Die Hard and where you stand.
Well, Sarny, what is your favorite Christmas movie?
Die Hard.
He's gonna pick 1-1.
It's Die Hard and then Home Alone 2.
2?
And that's the God's honest truth.
What is Christmas Vacation Land in there?
Oh, it's awful.
7.
Okay, quick question. Why 2?
I'm a New York City guy.
Okay, yeah. That
What
makes
about
Two-
Christmas
two is
Story?
so
Where
much
does that
better than
go?
one.
that,
Where does
that, that
Christmas
makes
Story
complete
go?
sense.
Sonny, Christmas Story.
3 or 4.
Okay. All right, it's gonna be interesting. We either have our top 10 list or our draft. We'll do it on one of the shows. Boy, this was anybody agree? No, anybody disagree? Die Hard's not a Christmas movie. Chat or up here. Everybody agrees.
Send them my way.
And just FYI, if you want to get proof, by the way, if you want proof that it's a Christmas movie, according to IMDb, the third greatest Christmas movie of all time is Die Hard.
All right. Well,
Internet Movie Database. IMDb.
Where do you put Elf?
Oh, that's got to be that's the top 5. I'll put it. You know what? That could be 3.
Hey, don't give it away.
Die Hard,
Sonny, don't
Home
give it all
Alone
away
2, Elf, Home Alone, Christmas Story.
Sonny, don't give away your big board.
Whoa.
Stop giving away your big board, Sonny.
I will say that Dolphin fans don't have to worry about an annual Christmas movie that came out, The Greer That Stole Christmas. We don't have to worry about that anymore.
I tried that to see on Fizz TV. It didn't work.
You know what made the top 12? Edward Scissorhands. In my life, I never would have thought Edward Scissorhands.
Is Edward Scissorhands a Christmas movie?
Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it is. Jason?
See, Ghostbusters 2 is not a Christmas movie.
No.
See, Ghostbusters 2 takes place during the
2
holiday
hours
season.
and 40 minutes
But
of
it's not a
arguing, and we end on this. I mean, this is what friends do on a podcast. These are what post game shows are. These are not the regular shows. We're more professional on our weekly shows. This is just what 5 friends do, sitting. What we talk about when we're having a couple beers is this kind of crap and arguing and getting each other's skin. But I appreciate everybody who's hanged out with us, and make sure you guys like the show, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and follow all these guys. Thanks for Frank the Tank we had on, Seth Levitt for the fish tank. Who else am I missing? Curtis was on, Kadeem, Kenny live from Spain. I mean, man, we had a full house, and of course, Lou, Finn Sammy, Finn Stanza, Jason Sarney, myself. Guys, we appreciate it. Yes, we all do like each other, by the way, even though we argue like this.
Sammy,
I don't know. Sammy, I don't know about. Don't worry, Sammy. We'll talk on the phone later. You know that. All right, fellas. Thanks so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your football day and take care, guys. Fins up. We'll see y'all later in the week.
Yippee-ki-yay!